Submit to the High Council here on World Class Bullshitters. I'm your host, Jeff Hicks, and with me tonight is my co-host, Caffeinated Wolf. What is up, man?
What is going on, Jeff? What is going on, chat? Fantastic to be back. We got a great show planned for you guys. Believe you me.
Yeah, I love the energy. Folks, bring the energy like Caffeinated Wolf. And also, folks, we needed to get somebody who else was going to bring the energy. So we reached out to our craziest, most, balls-to-the-wall fun friend. Say hello to Mad Cheesemo, Mad the Magnificent. What is up, man?
How's it going? I'm excited to talk about what my grandfather calls Cape Talk.
Oh, well, you're in luck because we're the future, man. And so what your grandpa had to Cape Talk, we have Cape shit. So, folks, welcome into some Cape shit tonight.
Welcome.
I had that all planned out in my head.
It was Tuesday night Cape shit.
Yeah, except no substitutes, folks. So I know everyone else is going to be focusing on real world politics and other stuff like that, but we're not that kind of channel. So we're here with another show to entertain you guys. So if you're listening live, which you should be, or if you're listening in the future, welcome. But before we start tonight's show, let's give a shout out to everyone here so far because we have an awesome audience. So we have hail to our friend AJ Journeyman. We also have Miss Ninja Julian, Galf R35. Hello to Melon Husk, Umo DME. D Pensac, Darian217, Joey the Lazy One is here, as well as Clone Geek, Keely Chow, and a whole lot more. So, folks, if we said hail to everyone who joined us live, that'd be the entire show. If that's what you want, no problem, but I don't think it is. So, let's start.
It is a pet peeve of mine. When I go to watch a channel, and they spend the entire time talking to the chat, I'm like, I came here to hear about that topic.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about dumb chat.
I care about chat. There's a way to balance it out.
Sorry.
So we know what's
kidding.
up here on World Class.
Perfectly
Bullshit.
balanced, as all things should be.
Thank you, Thanos.
You're welcome.
Do you remember the Thanos theory that Ant-Man could shrink real small, enter Thanos' body?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I do remember when that theory was making the rounds, and I just chuckled to myself, and I said, oh, Paul Rudd would do that.
What? Yeah, yeah.
Do you think they're going to pull it off in the next Avengers movie to get people back in theaters?
I don't know if they're going to be able to get people back into theaters for the next Avengers movie, to be honest. They don't have anybody left that people give a damn about. Who are they going to entice me with? Okay, look, I liked the Ant-Man movies well enough. They were fun. You can't put an entire film franchise on the shoulders of Ant-Man. It doesn't work that way. You're going to entice me with Riri Williams?
I agree that I like Paul Rudd. I don't know if I so much like the Ant-Man movies. You know what I mean? I feel those movies are carried by Paul Rudd.
Yeah, no, exactly.
In
They're
his
fun
likability.
because Paul Rudd is a fun performer. That's
I agree with
basically the long and short of that. And they did cast Wasp very well. However, I don't know what the hell it is with them and trying to make her look horrible because, like, her haircut in the new one, if you saw the trailer, it's like, what did they do to her beautiful hair? What the hell?
I hope they made it look more like a guy haircut.
They did.
That's
She
exactly
looks like
what
Peter
they
Pan.
did, actually.
Back in, baby.
Oh, God. It's awful.
No, I'm not a fan of the look.
Yeah, it's a bad look.
Yeah, it is. But I do agree Paul Rudd's likability carries a lot of stuff. I've watched Halloween 6 more than one time because Paul Rudd's in that movie. And I regret it each and every time, but it is Paul Rudd, so.
Oh boy, did you see that Halloween Ends or whatever?
Yeah, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. I have never seen a shittier Halloween film.
It made the Halloween Kills look okay in comparison.
Yes, and it made me
garbage.
I finally have found a Halloween film that I would rather like. It's like, look, gun to your head. What's the worst one? Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Now I got a movie that I hate more than Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I'm conflicted because there's something that terrible out in the world, but now it's like, well, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 isn't the worst thing. I've been living this anger for 13 years at this point. I guess it's time to just let it go and move on and see where my life takes me now. I'm a different man now.
It's weird.
Whole new you, Jeff.
Well, as we all know, how the second Halloween is the best, and this movie as well has very little Michael, even though the second one had none at all. It's shocking how bad they messed this up.
Dude, like that Corey character, that was the whole evil of Haddonfield can leach itself into the victims and this and that. Like, fuck that movie. That's all I'll say, folks. I got a
We
video
had to pause it.
about
We had to pause it because the girlfriend and I were like, "Wait a minute, does he have this power? Has he always had this power? Did he just take over his body? What is happening?"
Yeah.
Oh, you're not going to tell us, movie? Oh, okay.
It was shit. I mean, my favorite part about Halloween Ends isn't the film, it's the conversation around the film and all these people trying to make excuses for it on the internet. Oh, it's just misunderstood. You're just a hater. Ugh. It's like, look, you're the same people that bitched about Halloween 3. It's a good movie, but it doesn't have Michael Myers, so it's trash.
Oh,
then you have this broke dick Halloween movie that has somebody dressed up as Michael Myers doing the killing. Isn't that exactly what you want?
But it's 3 I was thinking of. That's the one where if you watch a TV commercial, your head turns into bugs.
Yeah, Silver Shamrock.
Yeah, okay.
I have a beer glass.
Oh,
And the
really?
movie on 4K. I like Halloween 3. I think it's like a Twilight Zone episode. That's why I enjoy it. It just feels like a long, drawn-out Twilight Zone episode.
So when it comes to the classic, like the classic cult horror slasher films, I've only seen the first entry in each one of them. I've seen the first Friday the 13th, I've seen the first Halloween, and I've seen the first Nightmare on Elm Street. And
Are you telling me you haven't seen Jason in Space?
Spacing?
I'm going to
Jason X.
try and take that question seriously and just answer with no, I have not.
Andrew, you better be careful. I don't know if you know this, but Jason Voorhees is a friend of the channel. Very conservative. Very conservative.
That's very, very nice.
You see our interviews with him.
Do you want a cookie?
They're there.
Now,
Actually,
Andrew,
no, you can't have a cookie. I ate them.
Shots fired. Now, Andrew, the one thing about you've only seen the first Friday the 13th is like,
and I know that Jason is like actually the villain in the other ones. It's his mother in the first one. I'm aware.
Yeah, but they become like a balls to the wall like different genre because the first one's more of a murder mystery whodunit. The whole tension of Mrs. Voorhees. Yeah. After the second one, they just become like kill of the week, and it's like John Wick. But for horror movies, where it's like, how is John Wick going to kill these people? It's like, all right, Crispin Glover's in the fourth one. He's in there trying to get laid, so he goes into the kitchen to go get some alcohol, liquid courage. All of a sudden, he's like, I can't find the corkscrew. Bam! Jason stabs him in the hand with the corkscrew before he can even recognize what's happening. Hatchet to the fucking face. Meat cleaver. Boom. Dead. And then, like, it just moves from kill to kill to kill. They're the thinnest plots. They're actually shit movies. But they're fun because you hate these kids, you hate the camp, you hate everybody except Jason, so you enjoy watching these stupid people die. If you want that kind of thing, this is your film.
Jason talked about it in several interviews. He was on LD's channel too about how he's done more to prevent teen pregnancy than probably any social program out there.
You're not wrong.
That's some Reed Richards level stretch there.
That's not me. That's him. His whole thing is, if he sets an example that if you have underage sex, you will be murdered by a man with a mask, then next time Jimmy's trying to get some, Mary would be like, no, let's pray to Jesus instead.
Nobody told me that when I was a teenager.
Well, because you only saw the first one.
Yeah.
I turned out.
That's why you got pregnant.
Oh, Andrew, congratulations.
Thank you. I didn't even know.
Hey, neither did I. But you know what? We're learning more and more about each other every week.
I didn't know I was pregnant.
Oh man! Oh, they're correcting you in the chat.
Mid-30s and pregnant, dude edition.
Yeah.
You laugh.
Reboot of Junior is what this is.
I wouldn't be surprised to see it on VH1. Is that still a channel?
I don't know. I don't watch TV. I barely get around to watching all the streaming services.
I always forget. I keep trying to remind myself to unsubscribe to Paramount Plus because I had it that one time. But I'm like, no, it's football season. I need it for the 3 games the Cowboys play on CBS.
Ah, damn it. I could have watched the Bengals probably this weekend. I missed the fucking game because I was out of town. don't have Sunday ticket out of town. Shit. I hate Paramount Plus. I think it's a dumb service.
Oh yeah.
I do not have Paramount Plus.
I think I'm going to cancel it tonight. But wait, isn't Top Gun Maverick going to show up on that eventually? Now I should just buy a copy.
I was going to say that's a movie you just grab on 4K.
Yeah, you're right, because it's going to fucking sound amazing too.
Yeah, that's a movie that, like, when the 4K releases for that, I will go to Best Buy or go online and get myself a nice surround sound system, or get, at the very least, a really good sound bar. In fact, I'll probably just grab a great Samsung sound bar to go with my Samsung 4K TV, and then just like crank that shit up, because that movie in IMAX was god tier. So hearing it as close as I can in a home setting, I think is going to be required.
It was all right. I had my issues with it.
Why did we invite him again?
Well,
this wasn't my idea.
Okay, look, growing up, I think Top Gun was one of the 5 movies in my rotation, along with Lone Wolf McQuade, Temple of Doom, and Tombstone. Like, those are the ones that were constantly in watch. And from the get, I'm like, oh, they're not even going to try to play volleyball. What the hell is this? You know? Because to me, Top Gun is all about bros. You know?
It's about stuff.
It's.
I would say it's all about bros.
I would not say that
basically
it's
all about bros.
No.
When you see the volleyball scene, you're like, man, that hits me in my broness.
I'm going to slap you in your broness. I'm going to slap the taste out of your mouth so hard you'll never get it back.
That's violent.
Also, I didn't know why Rooster would be mad at Maverick. Shouldn't he be mad at Big Glass? In my video, I talk about how this movie would have been better if it was Matt Damon's Rainmaker and they were suing Big Glass instead of Big Tobacco. That would make more sense to me.
Do you want to make a parody sequel?
I think I referenced Vanilla Ice too, because you got to have the top back so your hair can blow, bro.
Go Ninja.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with you?
Not a lot.
I guess there's just not much I can do. I must admit when I am powerless.
No, you never let him see you bleed, man. That was the last thing Q ever taught James Bond.
I'm good. Glass breaker.
Sign me up for that.
I'm good with them ending it with Maverick. I think that was a perfect cap to that.
Me too, because he looked so sad at points when they were picking on him in a bar. I'm like, don't you pick on that old man? He's still a valuable member of our society.
He is.
I mean, he has lessons to give.
I mean, Tom Cruise is a bit of a nut job in real life, but you know, there's one thing you can never accuse Tom Cruise of, and that's not putting out at least a decent product and crapping on the fans. That is something that's some tomfoolery he has never engaged in that I am aware of. He makes a product for the purpose of entertainment, and that's it.
Well, he also made Magnolia, which I don't know what the purpose of that film was. But
I get it mixed up with the other one.
He also did the Mummy remake, but we don't talk about that.
How dare you?
Oh, dude, I'll tell you, like, nobody involved with that movie enjoys it. Like, everyone's embarrassed about it. I don't.
I saw it in theaters.
Folks, we reviewed it over on Patreon, so check out patreon.com/worldclassbs and listen to us watch The Mummy live there.
I have to know, Andrew, what compelled you to go see it at the movie theater?
I had nothing better to do that weekend. And I am usually Tom Cruise is an actor that I will usually see his movies at least once, because I know that there's at least a high likelihood, and historically I've been proven correct, that I'll at least have a good time. At the worst, I'll be like, all right, well, I saw it. And that's what the Mummy remake was. It's like, okay, well, I saw it. But just about anything else that I've ever seen of his, I could watch over and over. I love Oblivion. I loved, was Edge of Tomorrow. Obviously,
that was a good movie.
I love the Top Gun films. We were talking about this, but this was before stream, right? My favorite movie franchise of all time is Mission Impossible. Like I'm actually fixing to this month binge watch all of them because I haven't watched them in a little while.
Oh,
I love one of my
hope...
favorites of his is Last Samurai.
That's really
and that's a movie that you watch that and you're like, holy fuck, Tom Cruise can act. He's not just, Mr. Action Hero. The dude can actually act his ass off. Every now and then he'll do one of those movies where he reminds you,
Collateral.
I can do more.
Yeah, I watched Collateral again the other day.
I watched that when I was visiting my parents back during the summer. My dad and I watched it, and it was only the second time I'd ever seen it. I saw it when it came out, and then I just hadn't seen it since. And I forgot like how good that movie was. And it's one of those things where it just had great performance. You had Tom Cruise, you had Jamie Foxx, and it was just a good, fun movie. And it kind of, even though I knew how it ended, I was kind of on the edge of the couch. I was like, I remember this being a good movie. This is a good movie.
Yep.
I haven't seen it
and I don't think
time.
he was too short to play Jack Reacher.
I even like the Jack Reacher films. Yeah.
The first one was okay. The second one,
I will say that I love his performance, but come on, if you've read the books, Tom Cruise does not fit the description for Jack.
Why? He's 6. Oh, sorry, he's not 6'5", and he's only 6'3". Oh,
he's closer to 5'3" than 6'3".
Shit.
Yeah.
You don't know how tall those apple boxes are.
I think he's an inch taller than my younger sister.
Big man.
I guess that's why he spent so much time on the E-meter. He's like, man, if I get these thetans out of me, maybe I'll grow just a couple.
Yeah. It's like a spirit ball. He wants to drain or absorb everyone's thetans and he'll grow 6 inches.
Oh, A Few Good Men, by the way. I don't think it's his best movie, but it is a damn good movie. That
it is.
The testimony about Jack Nicholson, you can't handle the truth. It's been parodied so much that people forget how great that scene is. It is.
That took some real acting chops.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's another one of those movies that showcases his actual acting range.
Yeah.
Now, I like Tropic Thunder. People in the chat have been mentioning that one. I like Tom Cruise doing comedy is really rare.
It is,
and I like it. He's too.
You know what? One of my favorite Tom Cruise movies is. I totally forgot about this one until now. Night and Day. It's Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz, and it's a spy comedy, and it's hysterical. I love that movie. It's just so much fun.
I can agree with part of that. It is a spy movie.
Shut up, Matt. Oh, yes,
I haven't seen it in forever. I guess I had to give it a watch, even though you ranked Mission Impossible 2 as your second lowest.
No, I ranked Mission Impossible.
Oh, sorry,
3 my lowest.
3. No, 2. Wait, you as your lowest?
2 was my lowest. Yes.
Oh boy. Oh, chat, get him.
Look, when I say it's my lowest, that's like me saying that Return of the Jedi is my least favorite of the original trilogy. Okay? I still like the movies.
I still love it, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yes, Return of the Jedi is my least favorite of the original trilogy. I still love the entire original trilogy.
John Woo can do no wrong.
Do you remember when you used to be able to say Return of the Jedi was your least favorite Star Wars movie and it still meant the same thing?
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, yeah, I would say. I mean, there's really only 6 movies to choose from, but yeah, I got you.
I missed the 2005 was a great year for Star Wars. We thought it was over, but we were wrong.
We thought the movies were
so.
That might be a good segue.
Yeah, we can use it as a segue. What do you want to talk? Let's talk about the big announcement and get this out of the way because we know how this is going to end.
Folks. I've seen this episode. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, me too. I've made this episode many times over. There's a new Star Wars movie announced, folks. Another one. Are you surprised? Again. Mad, are you surprised that they've announced another Star Wars movie that's never going to get released?
A little, yeah. wasn't it just the other day they were like, all right, Kathleen Kennedy, calm the fuck down. Stop announcing all these movies before we even know about them. I
guess
am
that
a little
rumor
surprised.
was fake.
I guess so. Damn it, they got me again. No. Man, this is insane. You would think they would put off on the announcements until they get one movie in production first.
Yeah.
In production.
No, because right now the director of Deadpool 3, Sean Levy, has been announced to be in talks to direct a new Star Wars movie. So another Star Wars movie, guys. Isn't it awesome? But they canceled 10. They're going to announce 50, and none of them are going to hit theaters.
Yeah,
I'll say this. I am.
A couple might get like cut up into like one season Disney Plus series.
Well, compared to the other people that they have announced behind projects, I'm actually okay with Sean Levy because Real Steel, man, I bawled my eyes out.
That was a good movie. I didn't cry in it, but
it's a fun movie. Yeah, I didn't do no crying with that movie, but I enjoyed
it. Hit me my broness.
I think that movie was probably more enjoyable primarily because of Hugh Jackman, and he's just a fun performer.
And the robots. I mean,
the robots
what do you mean? Because of Hugh? Yeah, bro, and the robots, and there's fighting.
What Real Steel was?
It was basically Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Hell yeah!
I was gonna say it's a modern day retelling of the movie Over the Top with Stallone and his.
Oh,
you ever seen that movie?
Shit.
The arm wrestling movie.
I love Over the Top. Hell yeah!
It's a guilty pleasure. It's a piece of shit film, but I love it. It is so bad.
That kid is such an asshole. I wish he would have got hit in traffic.
Sir. Yeah, me too. Like, he rips his sleeve off his jacket and runs out into traffic. I'm like, come on, man. I just watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre where, what's-his-face got hit by the truck at the end of the movie. Let's just see the unreleased version of Over the Top. It's like 9 minutes long. Same opening, same credits. Stallone gets the same money, and then his kid gets run over by a truck, and that's it.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Hey, do you want your son, or do you want a truck? Well, I don't know. How nice is the truck?
Wow.
That wasn't Sylvester Stallone, guys. That was just me, mad, doing an impersonation.
I was confused for a second.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that we were able to get Stallone onto the stream. That was impressive for a second.
Thank you.
I was just mad.
Hey, you want to arm wrestle my son? He does the over the top thing.
You sound like Barney Rubble.
Yeah, I lost it on that one.
I was
too many words.
Just going to say Barney the dinosaur. That's what I thought you were going for. But...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gee. I only want to reference Barney the dinosaur when it's the documentary about people killing Barney the dinosaur. That's all.
Okay,
remember
enough.
Smoochie? Kill Smoochie?
Death to Smoochie?
That's the one.
What about it?
Wasn't it kind of, it was supposed to be a Barney character and is all murderous, and Robin Williams is a serious actor now?
Yes, he was a serious actor, and that's you're thinking of that film, but I'm talking about this new documentary that hit Peacock a couple weeks ago, where it's just literally people shitting on Barney the dinosaur. It's like officially made too. A lot. He
wasn't a real thing. It was a guy in a costume.
Yeah, the guy in the costume made fun of it too.
Oh.
Wow.
He became a tantric sex guy, tantric sex teacher.
Oh.
That's not disturbing at all.
Well, to be fair, he was already into this tantric sex stuff as Barney, but he had to sign a contract that guaranteed he would never practice it as Barney the dinosaur.
Well,
that's okay.
Do you think he fucked in that costume, right? He had to have.
I could have gone my entire life, Mad. My entire fucking rest of my life. I've only been on this earth for 34 fucking years. I could have gone the rest of that time without having that thought in my head. Thank you very much.
Oh, fuck you. You'll suck me.
Oh, fucking hell.
This is going to be an interesting night.
I'm gonna hang myself.
Don't, please, not. We'll get the channel taken down. Please don't. No, all joking aside, though, we clearly give a fuck about this new Star Wars movie, so we're going to continue to talk about it as nauseum for 7 hours. No, let's final thoughts and moving on.
Well, like I said, I compare it to whatever her name is that wrote a couple episodes of Miss Marvel that's apparently writing it. And
Oh yeah, Shareem Obadiah something Chinoy.
nailed it. And whoever the dude was that wrote that horrible freaking HBO
Everything?
Watchmen.
Damon
Yeah.
Lindelof.
Yeah. This is, in comparison, he is, I don't know, Steven Spielberg in comparison to those two.
Fair.
I'll say this. I mean, he's got some good directorial credits to his name, but
Project
as
Adam.
we know, that doesn't translate necessarily into being a good director for Star Wars. Rian Johnson is a good director. You just don't put him in charge of writing in somebody else's sandbox because he's too much of a fucking egomaniacal reject to do anything other than his own thing. So we don't know if this is the same case with this guy. And honestly, worrying about it seems kind of irrelevant and beside the point anyway, because it's probably going to end up vaporware like the last 85 projects that they announced. Like this can go in the same file. I'm actually going to do it right now. I'm going to stick this in my personal file right next to expectations of StarCraft Ghost and Half-Life 3.
Oh, in that Game of Thrones book, put that in there.
Oh yeah. The final Game of Thrones book that George R.R. Martin is never going to release.
There's two more. I think.
Oh, there's two.
Yeah,
definitely never going to release. Okay.
This shit keeps getting better.
Yeah. So yeah, same file, same thing.
I was never gonna believe that another Star Wars movie is gonna get made under this, in this business climate. Whoever these people are at Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy and crew. So the more announcements, to me, just seems like they're throwing shit at the wall, seeing what's gonna stick. And Star Wars has never been, and Marvel, but these movies aren't about the directors behind them and their unique takes. It's kind of about preserving the story, and anyone that can just, preserve the story or continue the story or who's best for the story. I don't think Star Wars needs to have big names. Look at Ron Howard. Ron Howard's the biggest director outside of... Oh, shit. George Lucas isn't that big of a director. He created a ton of shit, owns a ton of shit. He's only directed a handful of movies.
Yeah.
Ron Howard's probably the most successful person in terms of quality film to direct a Star Wars movie, and he produced fucking Solo. Well, not his fault. But, that
he was given shit all to work with, but yeah.
Man, I don't know. I like Lord and Miller.
I do too.
I'm curious to see #release the Lord and Miller cut.
Sign me up.
I mean, how bad could it be compared to what we've seen thus far?
You shouldn't say shit like that.
Yeah, this is Disney Lucasfilm we're talking about. They just as soon as we think we've reached the lowest, they come out with Book of Boba Fett, or they come out with Kenobi.
I'm still mad about Kenobi.
I'm pissed about Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi is my favorite character in the Star Wars movie era part of the franchise. Far and away, nobody comes close.
Well,
and they screwed him up. That should have been the most simplistic layup they could have been given. All they had to do was do the John Jackson Miller novel, the Kenobi novel. Or what is it? The actual Last Jedi comic book, or was it a comic book, or was it a light novel? I can't remember. From the EU. Oh, but wait, yeah, Disney threw all that out with both hands when they took control of the property. That's right. That canon, that source material doesn't exist. They have to make up everything out of whole cloth. Which by that I mean just rewrite and do shittier versions of things that somebody else created.
That's just, we've been doing it for all of history, The original person that came up with the hero's journey it was probably very integrated, and now it's Obi-Wan, I guess, or any of these other movies.
Dude, Obi-Wan was so bad, I'm dreading watching Andor. That's why, like I said, folks, we'll review it at the end of the season. We can't do it weekly.
Look,
I think that's the worst type of show.
I watched the first 3 episodes. I was in. I'm like, okay, slow burn. I like it, but it picked up. I'm like, all right, cool. My thought was I like that it's not it's not Star Wars. Good, because Disney sucks at doing Star Wars. They should do something else.
But the problem is it's supposed to be Star Wars.
Right.
So if it doesn't feel like Star Wars, that's a problem.
But hear me out, because I don't want Chad to go all crazy, because I like the first 3 episodes. The 4th episode, I got halfway through. I'm like, oh, we're back to boring shit again, and I haven't gone back. But the first 3, yeah, I was into. There was a reason they released all 3 at the same time. But yeah, I mean, I get that when you see Star Wars attached to it, you want it to be Star Wars, but they suck at doing it. If they do something like this, but better, more consistent, I would rather have a good story that takes place I would rather it be Star Wars adjacent than shit Star Wars. Does that make sense?
It does.
Sure. I mean, you want a good, entertaining piece of media. That's fine. I think one of the issues with regards to this potential vaporware movie isn't just the idea of it probably not coming out at all anyway. So what's the point? But also, Disney hasn't been able to make anything stick of what they have actually released. So look at the percentage of projects that they've announced and what has actually gotten produced, what's been trashed, and then of the ones that have actually seen screen time, actually been released, how many of those have even been decent? The only thing that actually caught on with fans on any level was Mandalorian. That's it. And Mandalorian averages out to be a okay show. Well, like it's got some really good episodes, and it's got a lot of episodes where it's like, well, that was a complete waste of my time, and they could have removed that from the season and nothing would have changed.
I still, and I'm not alone in this, but I think Rogue One is still the best thing that they've done to this point. And I rewatched it leading up to Andor, and what I realized was, there's some really good things about this, except for the main protagonist. She's worthless.
Nobody was likable in that movie. I didn't give a damn
disagree. I really, really liked Donnie Yen and his dude.
Oh, the blind guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I liked, they were cool.
I mean, I liked him.
Awesome.
I liked him, but honestly, he wasn't in the movie enough to really give that much of a damn. And we knew everybody else was going to die.
Right,
so but there was no reason to get attached.
But my point is, they keep going into they're focusing on the wrong parts of it. You could, instead of an Andor series, I would have loved to have seen a series with Donnie Yen and his bro. You'll see a theme with me about my bros. Donnie Yen and his bro in their relationship, because when whatever happened with because there were the wills or whatever and all that, one went very religious and the other one became agnostic in a sense. They're completely contrast in that sense, but their broness keeps them together. And so there's that inner conflict already built into it between their views and the loss of faith and the going in too deep in the faith. And that could have been a series worth watching. But we get the second least likable character from that movie instead, without the robot.
Well, dude, the robot was awesome. I love K2SO, partially because it's Alan Tudyk, but I don't want to say it like this. I don't disagree about the Rogue One stuff. I actually came out pretty excited, in 2016, but it's like the way they did it. You followed up The Force Awakens. I know it's not the direct sequel, but the next movie to come out is Rogue One. I was on board with Rogue One, and I was okay with Star Wars for a minute. I was like, I hated 7, and then Last Jedi comes out, and admittedly kind of changes my perception on Rogue One for a while, to the point where I haven't sat down to watch it since probably pre-Last Jedi, and I don't necessarily want to go back to it because I'm not going to really gain anything out of the experience. The stuff they sold us in those couple of movies were the big emotional moments, and once you kind of have them, that's over and done with. And that movie just kind of sits there for me as a positive experience with cool scenes and not much else. I don't hate it. It doesn't get me angry.
I'll pull up the scene of Vader wrecking fools for 35 seconds, and that's I'm good.
It is pretty awesome. I wish he had the ability at that point to pull that ship back into him. He must have lost it over the years.
Dude, he lost it
That's an Obi-Wan reference.
That's a terrible.
Because he pulled the ship
I don't
from
want
space.
No.
I guess it was a bigger ship.
You're gonna need a bigger boat to impress me.
There's always a bigger boat.
There's always a bigger fish too.
There's always a bigger shark. Yeah,
But that's an absolute.
Oh, we watched Deep Blue Sea the other night. Guess what?
God.
It holds up 100%.
That movie.
My hat is like a
Did it
shark
ever?
fin. What?
I actually unironically enjoy that movie, which
It's
is
so good.
hysterical because I hate sharks, but I enjoy shark movies. I can't explain it. And that movie is kind of fun. It's
His prayer. As I walk through the valley of the shadow,
Yep.
I carry the biggest fucking stick. One shark left, Lord. Oh. Did you
I need
ever
to
hear
watch that
about
again.
him and Jamie Foxx getting into it on Any Given Sunday?
Mm.
Oh man, Jamie Foxx, yeah, he has this whole bit about it in stand-up. He's like, he really thought we were out here playing football. I'm like, no. And there's a scene where they get in a fight or whatever, and Jamie Foxx is like, I'm like, no, bro, this ain't really me. I'm reading this. You see here on the script. And LL hit him in the face.
Damn.
Because he got mad at him over what his character was saying to his character. It's great.
Take your word
LL
for
Cool
it.
J. Clearly LL Cool J's greatest claim to fame outside of his rap career was his appearance in Halloween H2O as the security guard who wrote romance novels.
Oh, that's good. I always thought it was a sitcom where he had one leg pulled up to the knee, one pants leg up to the knee.
Oh, you mean In the House?
Oh, is that what it was called?
I used to watch that show as a kid.
Nice. Did you have your
liked
pants
it 'cause-
leg hiked up?
No, I wasn't stupid, but I did watch the show.
Are you telling me you never wore your overalls backwards?
I never wore overalls, sir.
Okay, did you wear your pants backwards?
Overalls are illegal.
They made
I'm
me
also
want to
not a
jump.
farmer.
Yes.
Crisscross will make you. Oh, I knew where you were going.
I hope those boys are okay.
They're dead. That's not a joke. One of them is dead for real.
I know.
Oh man. I thought Crisscross was cool back in the day. I had that tape.
Yeah. My first cassette was Digital Underground.
Oh, was it sex packets, right? Digital sex packets or
Yeah,
virtual
something like that. Yeah,
Humpty
it's been
Dance.
so long. Yeah, hell yeah, man. They were also in a movie with was it what was it called? The girlfriend's gonna yell at me here in a minute because she loves that movie. It's the one where the dude had a penis for a nose. You know this movie.
Nothing but trouble.
What
Nothing
the
but
hell?
trouble. There you go. See, Jeff got it.
Yeah. It's a
They
terrible
were in
movie.
that movie. Yeah, Digital Underground was in there.
I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing
No.
I could have gone my entire life not knowing.
Yeah. You know what though? Let's not go wasting any more time without knowing what the audience is thinking. So,
What do you think about a nose that's a penis?
Shh. Mad, we're gonna do this show a little differently tonight since you're here, and you know you like to have fun. Pick a number between 1 and 69.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go with 11. Michael Park.
And I need you, and I miss you, and now I wonder
If I hated it. Hated that clip.
Oh boy. That was the thing that happened.
Was that white
Yeah.
chicks?
It was.
Yeah.
We have a
that
bunch
is
of
white
buttons
shit.
on the show. We have another button. I'm not going to press it for long, but another white chick button.
sex.
And that's all you'll see.
That's
is-
the only
is
thing
that
white
a
about
chick?
her. It's definitely not her teeth.
I'm not entirely convinced that is a chick.
Well, me
Oh,
neither.
I know. Oh, the only thing I know about her is the whole whatever it was. Let's go, Ross. Oh, that guy. Like, oh boy, you want to try to keep your job, don't you?
Yep. And he didn't.
No, none of them did. Ain't that a bitch?
No, that's just called karma. That's how things were supposed to go.
It's so weird because
Just
guilting your fans into liking you, it kind of works sometimes, right?
Always 100% of the time it
Oh,
works.
I think that's the basis of Catholicism is the old ladies griping at their grandparents, their grandkids to go to church, go to service, right?
After a while, it just doesn't work. You're like, sorry, Grandma, I'll show up, but I am not going to church. Well, you'll go to hell. Actually, my grandma never said that. Not once, not ever. So Zario Japan, thank you very much. He says, I guess The Rock didn't smell what Black Adam was cooking. Well, The Rock's movie made $300 million, and we'll be talking about that tonight. Because Andrew found an interesting article talking about the us versus them mentality, the whole fans versus the critics, and the narrative going on around that. So
that article was insane.
Yeah.
It ends perfectly, too. What this dude is amazing.
Joey the Lazy One, thank you very much. He says, I'd like a Joe Rogan Slapnuts to start. Well, as I always say on this channel, folks, asking you shall receive. Let me get that pulled up for you in a moment, and we will then see the Joe Rogan Slapnut button right about now.
Did you see that guy accidentally hit that moose with his car?
No.
Holy shit. Jamie, pull that video up.
It's Mr. Flatnut to you.
Jeff Jarrett. He was fat but still in shape somehow. It was weird. He had a weird body. He had a gut, but was still kind of. But
it's like the most impressive dad bod ever.
Yeah. It reminds Ezekiel Elliott. He's always looked like he has both a beer gut and a six pack. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, how do you do that?
Many years of practice and dedication. You know, with enough hard work, even you can look like that, Matt.
Oh boy, this is our year. How about them Cowboys?
I'm a Bengals fan, so no.
Well, you guys are doing okay now.
We were 4-4, now we're 5-4 after the Carolina Panthers ain't shit. So,
man, I felt bad for
Panthers fans.
PJ, whatever his name is. He was in the XFL reboot, wasn't he? I think he was like really good. He played for Houston's XFL team. And
then he made it to the NFL?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And then the organization was like, we don't care about this season. We're going to get rid of everyone around you.
Well, good. Folks, if you want more football talk, join us on Thursday nights for the WCBS podcast, where Dion and Kendo will probably randomly spout off some bullshit at the beginning of the show about sports. And Nick and I will just go, okay.
That was an actual preview of the show.
Yes, that is this week's show. Dick and I, okay. Darian217, thank you very much. He says, you get what you deserve, Star Wars movie trooper. Sure. Well, you'll get what you deserve, or ask for at least. That sounds a lot nicer, doesn't it? So, where is it? Right here.
How about another joke, Moran? What do you get?
I don't think so.
When you cross a mentally ill loner with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash, I'll tell you what you get.
Call the police.
You get what you fucking deserve. Good night.
Oh man, that was. I've always looked at that film like this would be better as a musical.
Well, wait for the sequel.
Well, you're gonna get your wish.
Very soon, very soon.
Lady Gaga and all.
Yeah, I watched. I'm like, man, you know what this movie's missing? Lady Gaga.
No, I never once had that thought, but I'm so excited to go see the new one now.
I hope they talk about Trump.
Oh God!
What did you just say?
I hope they talk. Yeah, I hope they have a Trump allegory in it.
That's exactly what I go to see superhero movies for.
Yeah,
yeah, we
or
all
even
do
superhero villains.
I hope in 50 years they're still making those allegories in their films. The guy's been dead for 40 years. They're still going on and on about it. Right. Most of the population doesn't even know him anymore, but it's important to make sure.
Yeah, they've erased his existence from history books, and he's still living rent-free in people's heads.
Like, you get to some executive meeting like, sir, no one on the planet even was alive when he was the president. I don't care! Put it in! You find out
They
that
get
Hollywood
it.
is just a
They'll get
fucking head in a jar or a series of robots. Or they're a series of manatees with a bunch of balls in front of them, just like the writers of South Park.
Or it's a floating robot with a hat.
I could go with that one.
That's a She-Hulk reference.
I can't go with that one. No can do.
You can see my why She-Hulk is the best MCU series on the channel as well.
That sounds terrible.
It does law right.
Does not sound like a fun time for me.
Oh, it's a great video.
SH Rebels 08, thank you very much. He says, I'll take a Joe Rogan high as fuck and the new You Get What You Fucking Deserve. Hail Jeff, Caffeinated Wolf, and Mad. So we got some love from the chat there.
All right.
All right, so the first one, I guess we'll go Joe Rogan first to break up because people do love that Joker button. And you know what? If you like it, that's why I made it, for you guys to be entertained by it. But let's start with some Joe Rogan.
Imagine if you gave a white supremacist 5-MeO DMT, and then as the first one, as they're exhaling,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What a rush!
God, Joe. Gotta love him. And then, since you requested,
How about another joke, Moran? What do you get?
I don't think so.
When you cross
I think
a
we're
mentally
done
ill
with you,
loner
Joe.
with
That's
a
it.
society that abandons him and beats him like trash, I'll
James.
tell you what you get.
Call the police.
You get what you fucking deserve. Good night.
so
Wow.
you know how that actually started on the show, right? I made this last week, and then actually 2 weeks ago now, and everyone's like, make another one. And
Get
I'm
what you fucking deserve.
Oh my gosh!
Oh.
yeah, he's dead. And, yeah. So there we go. Cesare Japan, thank you very much. Has another request. It's great. It's perfect. I wish Dion was here for it, but it doesn't matter. It still makes the same amount of people uncomfortable with Dion or not.
Nope. No.
You're right. I am uncomfortable.
I have a clip I think you should add for the button thing.
Shut your hole!
The fuck was that?
Oh, fuck!
What?
Hold on, let me play it again.
Oh, okay. Here, I'll bring it back. That's from Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Oh shit, with Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Yeah, that's another one we watched the other day. Oh, it's so good, right?
It's fun.
No, the movie's awesome. In a
Shut your hole!
we had to pause the movie
Shut your hole!
for so long.
The things people do for money.
Hey, that has Rowdy in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Not Ronda Rousey.
That's the thing.
No, the original. Yeah. And
Yeah.
he's the last dude with sperm, and so they need him to get the fucking. 'Cause they need more men for the army. This whole thing.
Well,
It's kind of like Children of Men, except with frogs.
That's great.
thank you, Melon Huss.
That's a image. Thank you.
You know what you get when you tell us something in great detail like that on World Class Bullshitters, right?
I mean, do what you got to do to prevent pregnancies. That's what I say.
Yeah. Now, let's read a few more of these, and then we'll get right back to the show. SH Rebels 08 has a few requests, so I'm going to press these, and then we will move back into the show. So first off, there was this one.
What's that smell?
I gotta add
And
that one to
then-
the list.
That's some top tier acting.
And here's some more.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
That killed the room. And then finally,
The second greatest name in the High Republic. Second only to Geo, dude.
Oh, I'm a huge Geode fan. Huge. I think he's one of the best characters they've came up with in a very long time. Probably the best original character of the Disney era.
I thought
Yeah.
Leox Jossi was just as good. Sorry, Leox Gayassi.
What?
I don't
What
think-
about
I
the
don't think
black
you
dude
can
that
beat
cooks?
Rock.
What did you say?
The black guy that cooks, remember? He
Does
hangs
he
out with
cook?
that chick that loses her lightsaber all the time because she'd rather be reading books.
You know more about it than I do.
Yeah, I won't consume High Republic.
I can't. I just my hands will burn like when a demon enters a church or whatever. It's just like High
Yeah.
Republic. No, thank you. I don't want that shit.
Nope. I'm an old Republic guy, so you even try going anywhere close to that. No, you can go die in a hole, Disney.
They won't, because they're gonna keep doing dumb shit that pisses us off. But hey,
Until they
Well,
lose
that's
enough money.
I
Well,
can't believe they
wasn't-
haven't had an action figure come out for Geode yet. I mean, it's it's a
You
pretty
go out
I
to
can
your
go
garden, it's
outside
right
my
there.
door. Yeah, exactly. Jeff beat me to it. I can go outside my apartment door and grab a rock out of the yard.
dare
and
you.
I'll be good.
He saved the galaxy.
Yeah.
from what? The threat of invasion?
He had real
I
stone.
forgot what it was. I mean, no one saw it because he can't move. If people are watching, it's kind of like what's his name in Mystery Men.
Oh, yeah, Kel Mitchell's character.
Yeah.
I know you're doing
I hope he's doing good.
Invisible Boy.
I
You hope he's
doing
what?
good. I hope he's doing good.
Kel Mitchell?
Yeah.
He is alive and well.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
He's they're getting ready to make Good Burger 2.
What, really?
No.
Oh man, don't play with my emotions like that.
I was honestly like, really?
Oh.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the
Good-
Good Burger. Can I take your order?
I can't believe Keenan couldn't get him on SNL once. What an asshole friend.
Well, they're still friends, I think.
Look, Keenan, man, he's leaving, isn't he? Isn't he leaving SNL now?
I don't know. I only watch the good clips that'll come through, like David Hicks
Yeah.
Pumpkins.
Or Keenan doing Big Puppy? I love those.
I don't watch enough of SNL.
Oh, I don't either. But yeah, you have to see him doing his David Ortiz because even David Ortiz loves it. He does, Peyton Places, right? It's on ESPN Plus. Peyton Manning, these are my favorite places. Well, David Ortiz had one, and he goes, "Are you afraid of monsters? Well, don't be."
I'll have to
so
check this
funny.
out.
Oh, David Ortiz, what a gift.
It'd be great if it was Tito Ortiz. James Salzberg, thank you very much. Even though everyone says Andor is good, I'm checked out on Disney Star Wars, and we have Disney Plus for my daughter. I spend TV time on YouTube. Well, James, thank you for spending your TV time with us here on WCBS tonight, live for the High Council. I get where you're coming from. I do watch it because the first 3 episodes were fine. It took about till episode 6 to have something happen. And it's just a drama show set in the Star Wars universe. And outside of the weird guy who alters his own uniforms and lives with his own mother, I like most of the characters. I like where the show's headed. It's not really headed anywhere fast, but we also know where it goes. It ends with Rogue One, and we know how Rogue One ends, the first Star Wars movie, and we know how that one ends, the end. So there's not a lot of new Star Wars anything to get hyped for, but I like what I see, even though it's not keeping me up at night with excitement. Oh, but James,
did y'all cover the whole thing? Did y'all cover the whole thing with Yaddle? I think that's her name.
Yaddle.
Yeah.
Hell, I don't give a shit about that kind of stuff to cover it on the channel. Honestly, the
no,
videos,
it
people wouldn't
just-
watch the videos.
It just made me think like, oh, okay, so Yoda was autistic. What was happening with him then? Why did he speak like that? Is it CTE?
Yes, he used to play bocce ball, and he took a lightsaber hilt to the head one time, and he's just never been the same.
I used to speak in proper English like you, and then I took a bocce ball to the knee.
Boom, he's done. God.
The
And
truth
then a
you
dragon
shall tell.
attacked his house.
Yeah.
It was just a rough year for him.
The High Republic keeps. I only know this via articles that I see pop up in my feed. The High Republic keeps making Yoda into this like horrible person. Like everything that he does is wrong. The downfall of the Jedi is all his fault. Like they are so determined to destroy things that were popular that they did not create.
Well, Andrew, as we all know, Yoda was white coated.
White.
So he
Right.
Yeah.
Because I look at a little whatever the fuck Yoda is, and the first thing I think is, "Yo, that's a white man."
Yep, yeah, he's white coated, so he has to be destroyed. Even though
That's the
I
only
think
thing that makes any damn sense.
now that
It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's not supposed to.
Oh, man. Have you ever watched those videos? Sarcastic something. I forget the name of the channel, but had one talking about the villains being queer coded. It was bananas.
I don't even see how people can read into that. Like, I don't see
The
it.
coding, that is a very recent term and recent phenomenon that effectively people that haven't ever been fans of this shit until 5 minutes ago when they did a Google search or a new movie was put out, they weren't fans of this shit, and then they try and look into things, and then they just attach words that were completely made up out of whole cloth to them. Queer
all
coding,
words are made
or
up.
black coding, or whatever coding. How about you just fucking learn to code? Go get a job. Piss off.
Candy coating. That's my favorite.
Leave my fandoms alone, okay?
It is getting kind of tiresome where it's just like, but then they try to pull it, well, you're a gatekeeper. Well, yeah, fuck you, stay out.
Yeah, if you think that here's my stance with gatekeeping. Everyone is welcome until you come in and feel like the property needs to be changed for it to be okay, because it needs to reflect and mirror you. If that's the case, it wasn't made for you. Fuck off.
I don't believe in gatekeeping as a concept to begin with. No one's going to your house like, taking this copy of whatever. No one's taking it from you. Just because people don't like your opinion on Twitter doesn't mean they're gatekeeping. It means you're an idiot, probably.
Yeah.
But it does not prevent you from still being, playing D&D, for example, right? No one's going to your house and taking your die. Like, excuse me, sir, you're not allowed to have these now? This is gatekeeping. What are you talking about? I'm just saying.
Gatekeeping was a term made up by people that wouldn't have passed the test to get into the fandoms to begin with, if there was one. They're the only people that use that term typically and bitch about it and accuse real fans of it being a practice that they engage in. However, the sad fact is we wouldn't be in this place with our fandoms if we had actually done that from the start.
What, go to their house and take their dice from them?
Not go. No, just gate and it's a trickle down effect. So the companies that were in charge of these IPs allowing ideologues who had no business whatsoever and no credentials and no knowledge of these properties to be put into creative positions or HR positions, and then that continued to trickle down into lower and lower creative positions until the entire industry was saturated with these people that know nothing about the property, but they're the ones in charge. And then what that does is that enables normies who themselves are ideologues into thinking, oh, now this can be made for me. It was already made for fucking everybody. Guess what?
Yeah.
If you didn't like it, then it just wasn't your jam. There's something else out there for you. Not everything has to be. Some people aren't going to like this. Not everything is for everyone. Okay? Some people just don't like sci-fi. That's fine. Some people don't like fantasy with magic and might and swords and dragons and cool shit. I think you're weird. But okay, if you don't like that, that's not for you. Fine, whatever. Some people don't like spy flicks. I also think you're weird. But that's fine. Not everything has to be made for and catered to literally everyone. You can't do that. You can't. It's literally impossible. You identify your core audience, you cater to them because they're your bread and butter and your consistent revenue stream. They will always be there as long as you're not producing crap. And sometimes there are people that still will, even if you are producing crap. And then you try to not cater to, but reach out. Because in intelligent business, I have a business background, management background, and a marketing background. Business 101 is you hyper-focus on your core base, core demographic, but you also obviously want to grow that.
Yes.
But you never lose sight of your base.
I think I can sum up what you're saying with, give us the easy mode, Dark Souls.
No,
that wasn't.
No, you can't have that.
By the way,
get good.
I don't play this game. I don't give a shit.
Get good or go play Animal Crossing.
Fuck Animal Crossing.
I feel like there's a middle there somewhere between Dark Souls and Animal Crossing. There's something there in the middle.
How about Animal Souls or Dark Crossing?
Animal Souls?
Game.
I don't know, man. Shit. There's some weird people out there. That's probably some Rule 34 shit.
Well, yeah, but let's not talk about that part of it.
What's Rule 34?
No, we're good.
Why don't you Google it? You have this thing in front of you called a phone. You can just say, okay, Google, and it'll go, brink, and then you go,
they got me with Blue Waffle. They got me with Blue Waffle in 2008. I learned my lesson. I've never Googled since.
Google Meat Spin.
Oh, God. Why are we here?
Because you brought it up.
Oh, Jesus.
See, if we would have gatekeeped you, we would have never ended here.
That's true. Now, let's move on because we have a lot of topics to talk about. So another thing that popped up right before we went on the air is they announced an Indiana Jones television series on Disney Plus. Why?
Wait, say that again?
They've announced an Indiana Jones television series for Disney Plus. I said, why?
Oh, I hope it stars a woman.
Oh, God. Don't tempt them.
Oh, come on.
That's me pouring wine, by the way, not taking a piss, if you guys heard that, because reading all these articles forces me to drink in order to cope with it.
Yeah, I try to keep a certain type of face for the show, but man, other than that, these shows, all these announcements, these announcements are like dirty laundry. And what happens is eventually this shit piles up and somebody's got to clean up the mess. And, Kathleen Kennedy and crew can make every announcement they want. They can talk about this. They can talk about that. Produce something and put it out. They haven't put out a movie since 2019. Oh, the pandemic. Fuck off. You've had enough time to get your shit together now. You've had how many TV shows come out? Oh, the pandemic. Shut the fuck up.
I don't want to hear shit about the pandemic from anyone ever again. Spider-Man No Way Home, despite being an average movie, made a shit ton of money during the pandemic. It was pretty much in the middle of it. Enough. It's not an excuse. Put out good movies. People will come.
Well, I'll say this
figuratively and literally.
Andrew and I have talked about this several times that Andrew Garfield is the superior Spider-Man as far as cinematically speaking. And
superior? He's the amazing.
Yeah, he's the best. Sorry. Oh, that was good. I don't think I've talked to you about this, but did you cry when he spoilers for that movie when he gets to save MJ?
Don't call her that. That's
oh my
our
God.
word.
You're
they
gatekeeping.
Can't use that
You're
word.
gatekeeping.
Yeah, I am. Gosh, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to go on a mini rant here. And that pissed me off. The fact that in that movie, they decided to make her last name Watson. Like, at that point, you couldn't argue that they were absolutely trying to just flat out tokenize MJ. Sure, they made her first name Michelle. It doesn't matter. They were calling her MJ and they made her last name Watson. Fuck off with that. I actually wanted him to drop her. I understand why narratively it actually made sense. It was important for him to catch her. And I was like, okay, I understand based on the arc that he went through. That's actually something very important, very valuable emotionally. Still don't like the character. Wish he dropped her.
His line of "I stopped pulling my punches" was it hits.
Well, this
right?
Jeff, you and I are big web heads, so this is what I pictured when he said that line of "I stopped pulling my punches." Do you remember? I forget which issue it was, but Pete was in. I don't remember if it was the Raft or if it was a different lockup with Kingpin and a bunch of other guys that he had tossed in there. And Kingpin threatens his family, and Pete takes off the mask and he beats the living shit out of him. And he says, "If you fuck with my family, you're done." That's what I pictured. That's what I picture when he says, "I stopped pulling my punches." People don't realize if Peter stops pulling his punches, people would fucking die.
Oh yeah,
he's knocked out the Hulk.
Well, people just think because Spider-Man's a fun, jovial guy, he's not powerful, or he doesn't get dark, or he doesn't, do that stuff. Once Aunt May got
jovial, he's jovial, and doing all the quips so that he doesn't get addicted to the violence, as well as throwing off his enemies, but also to keep himself in the right headspace. Because if he let himself get zoned into the violence of it, dude, he'd kill people.
He would, and that would make him a Batman-like character instead of a Spider-Man character, who he is.
Jeff, you do agree though that Andrew Garfield was better than the other two, right?
No, he does not.
Here's the thing.
Really?
Jeff and I agree on a lot of things. This is one thing we do not.
His movie, he's fine in hindsight, or he's great removed from his world, but the world of the Amazing Spider-Man is just so dumb, so right, but Sony.
I 100% agree, but I think you can judge the world that they're in outside. It doesn't have to be connected to how you view the character, though. If you can isolate them, if you can isolate all three Spider-Mans.
It's hard to isolate Toby from the world because Toby was very deliberately meant to be that Steve Ditko, John Romita era. And it was, those first two movies are basically perfect.
Yep.
Not in the literal sense, but they're, you know what I mean.
The third though, bro?
I try to that's exactly, yep. I'm glad you're pulling it up, Jeff. I'm glad you're pulling it up.
I knew the book when he slaps a hoe.
I knew the book as soon as you said it. I'm like, oh, this is right after Civil War when Aunt May gets shot. I'm like, I got 5 copies of that fucking comic book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
drawn by Ron Garney.
It's good. Look how pissed he is.
I love it.
Anyway.
I liked that story up until
One More Day.
You know what happens? One More Day.
Oh no, what happens?
Joe Quesada happened.
Spider-Man ate his weight in Godfather's pizza, and then Michael Jackson came over to his house and used the bathroom.
Oh no!
Wow,
okay.
That's
okay. That actually
didn't
happen,
couch.
But his sister did.
Man.
Yeah, that I have scans of that entire book, and man, every now and then I'll go through those panels just to remind myself, like, this is why, like, when somebody is writing Peter properly and I'm saying, shut the fuck up, you're in a fight, because that's how it's supposed to be, that reminds me why he does that. Because he just, like I said, he's knocked out the Hulk. He is a slept-on character in terms of how strong he is. He's not some, god tier character, but he's incredibly strong. And he pulls every single one of his punches.
I think you're giving a little bit too much credit, because everyone knows the Hulk has a glass jaw. He's just so offensively minded that it's never really a threat. Come on.
I I'm not a Hulk guy, but I would not agree with that statement at all. And I think
come at me, chat.
I think Jeff would back me up on that one, even though both Peter has knocked out the Hulk and the Thing has also knocked out Grey Hulk. But that was Ultimate Universe, so it's different.
Oh my god! When you said in the Thing, I'm like, wait, what? They crossed over with the John Carpenter movie?
No.
Yes,
I forgot all about Ben.
The cigar munching thing. Clobbering time.
There was no reflection in his eyes.
Did you call him?
What?
Dude, I said, what kind of muncher did you call him?
Cigar munching.
Oh, okay. That sounds cool.
By the way, The Thing, my favorite horror movie. I think it is a masterpiece. And even with all of the praise it now receives, is still not enough. Also, man, what's his name? Keith David. He's The Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 100%. The
Like,
cinematographer came out.
But that I had to go on that rant. there was no avoiding that once it was brought up.
Well, you brought it up.
One of
People
these
like
days, Jeff, we'll just have to have a dedicated Spider-Man stream and just call it like a web series or something like that.
But what we do, I've been wanting to do a Spider-Man podcast just for the hell of it, because I'm like, why not? So yeah, we can come up with some stuff. It's like there's just one problem. It's like, how deep do you want to go? It's like, all right, if you're up to me, if you're like, Jeff, set up the content. What are we going to do first? All right, we're going to start with Amazing Fantasy 15. Then we're going to go to Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 and 3. And people will be like, what the fuck? Dude, I'm like, we're going to do every issue ever. Fuck it.
Or we could take it in chunks and like highlights of each kind of era in Spider-Man's lore, in Spider-Man's history. And that would make it maybe more digestible for your average viewer.
Well, I guess I'm so like entrenched in Spider-Man fandom. I'm like, look, from 1962 from 1962 to about 1994, I could pretty much tell you everything that goes on in Spider-Man, like in sequential order for the most part. Some better than others because I like certain eras more. But once the Clone Saga hits, that's like, I don't touch those comic books, folks. If you know what that means at home, don't read the Clone Saga. If you want to know what that means, just follow my words. Don't read the Clone Saga. That's the end of the story.
Or if you do, definitely do not read the Clone Conspiracy afterwards.
No.
Do read Maximum Carnage, though.
That was fun. That's the very last.
Did you
story,
play
right?
the Super Nintendo game?
I was just thinking about that, Andrew. You were in my head.
That game is freaking baller.
Awesome.
I had so much fun playing co-op with my buddy with that when I was growing up as a kid. That game is amazing.
It was on the Super Nintendo?
And Sega.
Yeah. Shit, I bet I could download that onto my Switch because I have my Switch modded and I have emulators on it. I don't have to remember to do that. I'm gonna write myself a note to do that later. I haven't played that game in years. Yes.
Man,
dude, this game was awesome.
Yeah, green jelly. This was just music.
This was like so emblematic of the mid to late 90s like side scroller beat 'em up games.
Hell yeah.
That were just freaking king.
And they don't take it easy on you either.
No, those games are freaking hard. That game kicks your ass.
I think the hardest game I've ever played was the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves game on the original NES.
I've never played that.
I guess I was so young, and I guess I have these memories of getting my ass whooped on that and Lion King.
This is how long it's been since I last played that. I totally forgot Cloak and Dagger were in that game.
Oh, and Captain America. Holy shit. I forgot all about this.
Yeah, dude, this game had a star-studded cast. It was amazing.
So did the book.
Yeah.
That was a fun title. It was a cool
event. It was just like that. That event was about as 90s as it gets without being like
shit.
Clone Saga.
Okay, some of these seem like not all these are real, right?
They're all real.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They're all real.
Yeah, they're all in the book.
Freaking good. That game was so freaking good.
I liked the cutscenes like this because you know,
there
was like a comic book panel come to life. Hell, comic book art wasn't much more elaborate than this in general. I mean, it's sharper, but It's like, all right, cool. It moves. The shit pops up. I wanted, like, at that age, I wanted them to release cartridges just full of comic books that you could read like this. I'd have loved that.
I hear that.
But this is one of those all-time great video games. It's up there with like the X-Men arcade game. It's up there with I'm trying to think of other great superhero games because I like to
the
keep all
one
the
on the
superhero
Sega
stuff.
Game Gear.
Which game?
The X-Men game. I forgot what it was. Gambit, it was a side scroller on the Game Gear.
It might have just been the X-Men game, just titled X-Men.
I can't remember if that's what it was called.
Because that was X-Men 2, The Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that?
The Wolverine game that came out after the movie was legit.
You mean the one that came out after the live action Wolverine with Hugh Jackman in
Yes.
2009?
Are you talking about the X-Men Origins Wolverine game?
Yes, the game?
That was awesome.
Yeah, the game was fine.
Awesome.
The movie not, but
the movie sucked ass.
What?
The game was fun enough.
We learned how he got his jacket.
Yeah, and that was the part
no
of
pleasing
Wolverine
guys.
I never
needed
could understand.
I'm a big Taylor Kitsch fan. That's his name, right? I wish.
How are you a big fan?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know his name.
What do you mean? Oh,
how are you a big fan if you don't know his name?
Because I had a brain injury, Jeff. Jeez, thanks for bringing up that horrible memory.
I'm not even going to continue. Continue.
Anyway, yeah, that guy. I didn't mind his Gambit. I think it would have been better in a different context, in a different movie, directed by somebody other than Gavin Hood.
Yeah, you're right.
Basically, everything about it different except for him being the actor.
I want a Gambit
completely the same.
Did you guys hear that the Gambit movie with Channing Tatum hurt Channing Tatum personally? That they didn't get to make it?
It pisses me off too because I think he could have done.
No, don't do that.
I'm telling, man. Look, he
Channing
showed he could
Tatum has
act.
the acting range of a plank
Get the
of
fuck
wood.
out of here. Did you see Foxcatcher? It's a boring ass movie, but he acts his ass off in that. And then he did that Cajun accent in Hateful Eight to let you know he could do it. You add those two things together, and his passion, like Deadpool, what he should have done was release test footage, like Ryan Reynolds did.
I mean, is there test footage though?
I still don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do with you, man.
What? Everything I said was legit and factual.
Sure.
In a good opinion.
Okay. Well, definitely not that last one.
I would like to give him a chance,
We need movie tie-in games back, says Miss Ninja Julian. Well, first we got to get some more good movies worth making tie-in games that are underwhelming about. Yeah. We used to get good movies with really shitty licensed games made after them to capitalize on it, and now we just get both shitty.
Remember Street Fighter, the movie game?
We talked about this last week, didn't we, Jeff?
Oh, did you really?
Yes, we did.
We talked about Street Fighter, the movie, the game.
Yes. I gotta watch that movie again because it's so amazing. So Van Damme is the most American ever. You saw the tattoo. I'm gonna kick his ass so hard. Anyway, I'm American. It's amazing you base a movie on a game and then you base a game on a movie. It's that game is the equivalent of 50 Shades of Grey because that was based on a shitty movie that was based on shitty fan fiction. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't know. I have neither read nor seen it.
No, I haven't either. I just know that story, that it was fan fiction on Twilight and that she based the story on, and then the movie was based on that, and they're surprised that it came out to be shit.
Freaking EA really did waste the Battlefront franchise.
They've wasted everything that they've ever put their hands on. What are you fucking talking about? When we haven't had a Fight Night game since what year was that, Jeff? The Fight Night came out?
2006.
And it still holds up. I downloaded it because it's backwards compatible, and it's still better than anything they've done with the UFC. There's a new boxing game coming out by somebody else.
Back in the day.
Oh, it still holds up. 100%.
Yeah, I thought, was it Fight Night Round 3? Yeah, I thought it was like one of those realistic looking games because I didn't have an Xbox 360 yet, and I was still rocking the PS2 and the GameCube. And you would see clips of that game, and I'm like, whoa, it looks so real. And now I'm looking back at it, and I'm just like, it looks okay.
No, we must be. I'm talking about
okay if you take into context the year it was released, yeah.
The last one that came out where you were in prison. There was a whole story.
Oh, I don't know.
You're in prison. You get out, and you gotta, try to get back into boxing or whatever. And there's a big white guy, but not Russian, that you have to fight. Man, what was that?
Well, if he's not Russian, why am I fighting him?
Well, because he killed your father. I don't remember. I don't remember. Man, what was the name of it? Chad, help me out. What was the? I got it. Fight Night Champion, 2011.
Yeah, that's literally what I said like 2 minutes ago.
We were talking about sports. I didn't believe you.
Well, let's continue on. So, we've checked in with the audience. We've talked about topics. We're gonna move forward.
We're talking about a lot of Spider-Man. That might not be a bad segue.
No, help me out. I'm confused because all this mad stuff. What's our segue for? Spider-Man 4.
Yeah, so, Raimi Man 4.
Folks, we found out what we almost had with Spider-Man 4, and before we start talking about what we didn't have, let's talk about what we did have. A trilogy of films. 2 great, 1 and one that could have been awesome. Because we keep finding out.
One great, one that was damn near perfect, and then one that could have been awesome but was actually, like, not good.
Yeah. Now, Spider-Man 4 was canceled for many stupid reasons, mainly Sony wanting to rush to do more Spider-Man quicker, but they didn't, want to be patient, and they ended up putting out a movie a year later than they wanted to originally. Sam Raimi couldn't produce a Spider-Man film by 2011, so they went with a reboot, and they ended up putting out a movie in 2012, the exact same amount of time Sam Raimi himself requested. So I would have rather waited to have Sam Raimi direct Spider-Man 4 instead of a reboot. I don't need to take pot shots at Andrew Garfield or anything, but it was canceled for the dumbest reasons.
I will agree and disagree with you simultaneously here, because I make no bones about it, and people in the chat can hate me if they want. Andrew Garfield is my favorite performer.
Facts.
As the character. However, I will agree in that the reasons for them canceling Raimi's Spider-Man 4 were freaking stupid. Absolutely stupid. On the other hand, once we get into this a bit more, some of the stuff that he was planning on doing, I actually was not on board with.
Name 7 different things.
How about we just go through the article first? Back to you, Jeff.
So, Spider-Man 4 would have had a broken up Peter and MJ. So there's our first
nice flag. Not for me. He needs to spend more time with bros.
All right,
Spider-Man does?
He doesn't even have a bro in those movies. And the bro he did have tried to kill him.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah,
well, and then he ended up killing him. Well, he died a hero. So, had Spider-Man 4 been produced, the film would have seen Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson broken up after the events of the third film. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy helped push the superhero movie genre forward with bringing to life one of the greatest comic book characters with actor Tobey Maguire. While the third film was a box office success, it was also somewhat divisive among fans due to the handling of certain characters. The ending had Peter defeating the villains and losing his best friend, while his relationship with Mary Jane was left on an ambiguous yet hopeful note that had audiences wondering if they were still together. Spider-Man 4 entered development in 2008 and was set for release sometime in 2011. Details were sparse, but actor John Malkovich and Anne Hathaway were set to be in the film as characters Vulture and Black Cat. Following the forced inclusion of Venom in Spider-Man 3, Raimi wanted more creative control over the film. The Vulture was one of his favorite villains, and he wanted to introduce him in the previous film, but was denied by Avi Arad. Despite this, Raimi was still not satisfied, and the film wound up getting canceled by Sony, opting instead to reboot the franchise, thus leaving Peter and Mary Jane's fate unexplained. Since the cancellation of Spider-Man 4, certain plot details have crept out. The Direct shared an excerpt from Sean O'Connell's new book, With Great Power, that reveals the fate of Peter and MJ. Unfortunately, it appears that the following end of Spider-Man 3, 2 of them opt to live their lives separately from one another. O'Connell explains that MJ has gone and Peter has finally made peace with his life and Spider-Man has fully taken control. For a long time, the Spider-Man future would have been left in the dark, but audiences were shocked to learn that Maguire's portrayal of the character would return in No Way Home. So there we go.
Actually,
how do you guys
was
feel about
that? Really? I mean, here's my issue with this, because this on again, off again. Now we're keeping them split up between Peter and MJ bullshit is the exact kind of crap that Joe Quesada did at Marvel Comics throughout the or in the early 2010s, rather in late 2000s, that prohibits the character from growing and maturing. And it's exactly what he was trying to prevent them from doing. So I'm not on board with that decision at all, because an important thing about Peter is him trying to find that balance between his love life with MJ, his responsibilities as Peter, and then the rest of his life, like making frickin' rent and things like that. And that's an important part of the character, because Peter is first and foremost supposed to be the everyman for Marvel comic characters. And that means that there are a lot of like everyday problems that Peter deals with that allow literally anybody to connect with him.
And yet you don't want him to have to suffer the breakup, because I think in life in general.
Yeah, not for the 70th time, that's for damn sure. Like we dealt with that in Spider-Man 3, right? We actually dealt with it in Spider-Man 2 for a little bit there too. So it was just kind of like,
well, what I mean is
just put them together and keep them together.
I think that's why with the Amazing Spider-Man, it worked better with Gwen, because you can get rid of her completely, and he has that devastation, that heartache, that soul crushing before MJ. So he really does appreciate what he has with MJ. You know, the idea of I never knew that I needed you until I met you. Now that I have, I know I've always needed you. Kind of a.
Right. Well, Gwen grounded him in an incredibly important way while still being supportive of him. And that's something that MJ in the comics before Joe Quesada took some creative control was incredibly integral to. And Jeff knows this. And you remove that, you remove an incredibly important growing facet to the character. You can't just leave the character in the same state forever. You can keep who they are at their core the same. That's important to the character. Right. Otherwise, they're not the character. You throw that out, then you end up with Iron Boy. But
I agree.
You can still allow the character to mature as a human being.
I agree. I think you're right. They should have killed MJ in the fourth Spider-Man and then brought in Gwen. Kind of swap those roles.
Peter Parker already kind of, yeah, because Spider-Man already kind of did Gwen Stacy dirty, so yeah, like she figured out it was all a ploy to get Mary Jane to be jealous. So look, Spider-Man 3 sucks. I own it on multiple formats. I'm not embarrassed to admit it, but it's not great, and I want to make excuses for the movie. It's got it has moments of greatness, and it has moments of like. Yeah, that's my favorite part.
It has some good moments, but overall the movie is bad.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that at all. I wish
there are moments where you could tell Sam Raimi was trying to tell a good Spider-Man story, but Avid Alibaba or whatever the hell his name was
Avid Rod.
Yeah, that one.
Alibaba.
He just had his fingers in there too much, and this is a big issue that Sony especially has faced when it comes to the Spider-Man franchise, because that was an issue for Raimi with Spider-Man 3, where they had their hands like, no, we want to push. Raimi didn't want to do Venom. Venom was not initially part of that film. This is not what his goal was for that film. And watching the movie, you're like, yeah, he shouldn't have been. And
but
you look at
it wasn't Toby Grace's fault, though. I guess got to put that in there. Toby Grace.
No, but he was a horrible casting. Horrible casting. But regardless of how you feel about the first Amazing Spider-Man, right, wrong, around the bend, don't really care. With the second Amazing Spider-Man film, there was a lot of studio interference there that was like, oh, but we want to set up this and this and this. We want to set up the Sinister Six. Sinister Six, you're on movie 2. What the fuck are you on about right now? That is no different than like Zack Snyder being like, yeah, we're gonna do Doomsday, Death of Superman, Zod, and like setting up the Justice League in the span of 2 movies. What? Like, how much crack did you consume last night?
All of it.
See, that's the problem. If
all
it
of
was
it,
cocaine, we
literally
would have got a great movie like what we got with back in the day.
Like, what the actual hell? Because look no further than Spider-Man 1 and 2, or as I like to call them, Raimi Man 1 and 2. Those movies are phenomenal. They stand the test of time. I could watch those on repeat all day. And then you look at the difference between those and Spider-Man 3, and you're like, it is such a stark difference. It doesn't feel like it's the same creative team, because it wasn't. Because the studio kept getting in the freaking way.
And it's weird that even having that experience, Sam Raimi's like, no. I'm sure we can work this out for Doctor Strange.
Well, Avi Arad really is the culprit behind a lot of Marvel problems in the early 2000s because he owned Toy Biz, who owned Marvel partially and who made all the toys. So, for example, Avi Arad isn't Spider-Man 3 isn't the first thing that Avi Arad put his fingerprints all over. Andrew, did you know he is the reason why the Spider-Man 94 cartoon heavily features the Hobgoblin instead of the Green Goblin?
I did not know that, actually.
Because they had already committed to multiple Hobgoblin toys and that super glider. And so they made the Hobgoblin out to be a bigger deal because they had more toys in the pipeline. That's it.
That makes sense. And so, you know what, that completely tracks. And I knew this side of it. I didn't know about that specifically with regards to the animated series. However, I did know that with regards to Spider-Man 3, because obviously Venom is a fan favorite character in Marvel, just period. Not even just counting Spider-Man, but just period in Marvel. And so his toys typically sell and sell well. And so them wanting to have Venom in there makes it more marketable in his eyes on a toy, from a toy facet. I get that, but you also made a shitty movie because you forced him into it.
You know what would have been Neil Patrick Harris Spider-Man?
What would
have been
great?
That was a good show.
I thought so too. Underrated.
But Andrew, I would have enjoyed you could have even forced Venom into Spider-Man 3, and I would have done it like this: force the symbiote into Spider-Man 3, have it end with the symbiote attaching to Venom, and then have Spider-Man finish the battle, and then have Venom just be out there for the 4th movie. Like show Venom out there watching him or something, and then just you're done.
Like on a news.
I think what I would have preferred is that the majority of the film, so we're talking like first 2 acts, you know, you're kind of setting up layers that hint towards the symbiote, and then you actually introduce the symbiote in the 3rd act, and Pete takes advantage of that and actually is able to overcome his obstacles in the 3rd act because of the symbiote, but you end it with him realizing that, you know, it was affecting him negatively in terms of his emotions. It was making him more violent than he wanted to be. So he rips it off. You end it with that scene in the church.
Yeah.
Or even better, you have that scene in the church be the post-credit scene.
Yeah, I was thinking that
sets up your next film.
But we still get Toby Grace?
So no, we do not get Toby Grace. So the last thing you see is the symbiote falling onto big burly Eddie Brock, and you get your first glimpse of Venom, and then cuts to black. You're done. That would have been a great like post credits cliffhanger for me.
Oh yeah,
I would have been like so on board. I would have been like, give me next movie now.
All right, random question. What movie have you seen in theaters where you were ready for the sequel as soon as that one ended? Folks in the chat, play along at home too. Because there's got to be movies out there where you're like, holy shit, bring on the next. Like,
yep, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Hey, good to be right.
I would say either of the Amazing Spider-Man films. However, I would have said, you know, trying to remove the fact that Iron Man 2 and 3 exist after the first Iron Man film. Because that movie came out, and I was just like, crazy sons of bitches, they did it. They just made Iron Man a household name. This B tier character they just made into like possibly one of the best Marvel movies we have ever, just superhero movies in general that we have ever seen. Unbelievable.
If
I wanted more immediately.
If we're keeping it into Cape shit,
yeah, we got him saying it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with
one of us.
My real answer, Infinity War. When that ends, you're like, dude, I got to see.
Joey, the lazy one there says Avengers Infinity War. Yeah, and then
that's mine too.
And then you saw Endgame after that. How'd you feel?
Well, my second one, I'm going to move right on. Howard the Duck. I thought that as far as Cape shit, it sets up a real universe that you could sink your teeth into, you know?
You are unique.
Did y'all forget that that's Marvel, bro?
No, I know.
I didn't
forget.
I chose to forget.
I rolled my eyes when he was in the post-credit scene regarding Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, I didn't like that one. You could tell that one doesn't be fucking. But like, in the original Howard the Duck,
why the hell is he here?
You could tell. Man, it's so sad. He got sexually harassed by that redhead chick, whatever her name is. Gross.
Leah Thompson?
Yeah, that's the one.
You can't call Leah Thompson gross. She was Lorraine McFly. That scene's kind of gross.
And Avengers Endgame is a movie that loses its luster on repeat viewings.
Absolutely.
It's sure head and shoulders better than pretty much anything that they put out since.
Well, of course.
But if you compare it to everything that came before it, it's actually a step down.
I mean, outside of the Thor 2,
it has a lot of plot issues.
Whenever you're getting involved in time travel, and Ryan Johnson knows this well.
I'm going to say it. I don't give a shit. I'm going to say it right now. I like Dark World more than I like Endgame.
I haven't seen Dark World,
and Dark World's not great.
No, it's been too long since I've seen it.
But it's got a lot of cool scenes. It's got a lot of really good scenes, especially between Thor and Loki and his family. That movie was held back because of its focus on Jane Foster. Like, if you eliminated Jane Foster or like minimized her role into that to be like a sliver of what it was, that movie would be remembered far better.
Absolutely. Get rid of these women in our superhero movies. I'm with you, Andrew.
I mean,
that's exactly what you're saying, right, Andrew?
That's not what I was saying, actually, because I would kill for a proper Storm in the X-Men, or a proper Jean Grey, or a proper my X-Men waifu.
I thought Halle Berry did good.
And look, I got love for
she
Halle
never would have
Berry.
dropped the accent.
She's not Aurora Monroe.
I wish she would have kept the accent.
I'm just gonna leave it. I'm just gonna leave
it. But for real though, I do think there is way too much of a focus on will they, won't they, or who's banging who. Man, why can't we just have a bro movie? Just a duo hanging out like bros and beating up bad
Batman
guys.
and Robin?
Oh, well,
not quite that gay.
You see,
okay.
I know it sounds like I'm trying to get into some gay superhero movies, but that's too far. Keep the bat nips. That was a good part, though.
No, if you want to do it, look, there are actually a lot of people or a lot of opportunities to do like kind of buddy cop superhero films.
Yeah.
They just don't do them. If we had an actual Spider-Man in the MCU and then paired them up with Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool and did a like Spider-Man and Deadpool movie, the right writer could make that fun as shit.
Mm-hmm. That is what they should have done with the Captain Black Falcon and Winter Soldier movie.
That could have actually been a really good buddy cop series, but instead they turned into a propaganda.
And they
series.
set it up with Civil War because you remember, he's like, they're in the car and he's like, "Can you move your seat up?" No. They just have these little back and forths that are peppered throughout Civil War, and then they're like, "Nah, forget all that good shit." Communism's the way.
That series did Bucky and Sam dirty. Unfortunately, it did Sam dirty by demoting him from Falcon, which was an original character and a beloved character that everybody universally liked, to tokenize Captain America. And then they did nothing with Bucky when they had real opportunities to explore his PTSD from his time as the Winter Soldier. There was actually the grounds for actual real world deep shit being written into that, but instead they went with political propaganda. When they could have done something that would have reached anyone, regardless of race or gender, that has ever experienced any kind of trauma.
It's amazing how they will write this and don't understand who the hero or who the actual good guys are, because what's his name?
Well, it's because they themselves are villains.
Yeah,
so
Kurt
they
Russell.
have no idea how to write heroes.
Kurt Russell's son, Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
Who did he play? I forgot who he played.
U.S. agent.
Yeah. He was right. Like, you know, he was the best part of that series, and they're like, oh, he's so bad. Look at him. He's so white and straight. But and you see the same thing in the House of the Dragon. You watch those interviews, and their focus is so far away from what's actually happening on the screen, what they're writing. And it makes me believe that with that show specifically, they have a ghostwriter, because there's no way these people wrote this shit and can't understand what it is that they're showing. It's absurd. But anyway. But yeah, more bros in comic book movies.
If we had actually gotten because I know that, you know, Toby's your guy. If we had gotten a Spider-Man 4 from Raimi, what would you have wanted to see out of that movie?
Ooh, good question.
You're a Toby Grace fan?
No, Tobey Maguire.
Oh,
not Topher Grace.
Oh, Topher. Okay, that's right. I forgot that was his name.
Yeah. Now, do you guys want to see some images from Spider-Man 4 that were dropped the other day? Because there's some behind-the-scenes look at the Vulture, and I think it could have been better than what we got in the movie. And I kind of like Michael Keaton.
Let's see it.
So this
Michael Keaton was the only thing about Homecoming, so yeah.
Now this is the clay sculpts that were then going to be, you know, scanned in and turned into CGI. So these are hand sculpted models of the Vulture. So here's the first one, and let's look at it up close.
They ripped that right out of the comics.
Man, could you imagine John Malkovich being?
Honestly, I can. People attribute Malkovich strictly to comedy, and there are certain layers that they could add that into, but Malkovich has a ridiculous acting range. I can picture him playing like a really, really good Toombs.
I mean,
100%. Keaton killed it. That was like, again, that's the only thing I like about that movie. But Malkovich could have been amazing.
I mean, for you to say that people associate him with comedy is blowing my mind right now. That was Cyrus.
Seriously? I think a burn after reading.
Right?
Osborne Cox.
Con Air.
Yes, who the fuck are you?
The Gasai. Nara. Come on, that's a great line. Aragon. I mean, these are classics.
Like from Lord of the Rings?
No, I think he's referring to Aragon.
Yeah, that's what I said. Aragon.
From
the 2006 classic.
Yeah, that's not. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, that dragon movie.
Isn't Jonah Hex?
Please don't do that.
Oh, he wasn't alive?
Did he get eaten, or did he eat? That really hurts my soul.
Rounders is a really, really good movie, by the way. If you haven't seen Rounders.
Oh, with that's got Matt Damon and Edward Norton.
Yes, right? It does.
Yeah. Edward Norton, I'm gonna not get on a rant here, but Edward Norton, I think, would have been, if they could have made it work, he would have been a far, far superior Bruce Banner and Hulk in
absolutely
the MCU than freaking bland, useless stump in the ground Mark Ruffalo.
I'm with you on that one.
Edward Norton actually has a screen presence. Like he would have been. I hear that he's difficult to work with. He wants a lot more creative control. Well, guess what? He had creative control over his character in the Incredible Hulk movie, and Bruce Banner was an interesting character in the movie. I actually like that movie. Yeah, the CGI's crap, but just the movie itself, like the story that's told and his performance, I like it quite a lot. And I think he would have actually made Bruce Banner a character instead of just a useless set piece.
Edward Norton's an amazing actor, and I saw his movie Motherless Brooklyn. Is fantastic. It's a great noir, and he directs it, and it's filled with all the other people that nobody can get along with in Hollywood or
Zach Powell right here with the American History X reference there. Put your teeth on the motherfucking curb. Oh shit!
Have you seen Motherless Brooklyn?
No, I have not.
Check it out. It is really good. It's directed by Edward Norton. It's fantastic.
Edward Norton is a phenomenal actor, and
absolutely
he could have made Bruce Banner not a freaking joke in the MCU. He would have been. I would have watched character. It. I would have been thrilled for it.
You know, you wouldn't have had She-Hulk because Edward Norton wouldn't have been in bullshit like that.
No,
no, hell no.
He would have been like, "Fuck this shit sideways," because he's not a freaking cuck. He wouldn't have stepped aside and been like, "Oh yeah, I'll be made to look like a bitch next to this terribly written character." No. Or at the very least, the writing would have been different for that series because he wouldn't have allowed what we got. I haven't watched it, but I've heard plenty of things.
Every episode.
I won't waste any moments of my life on that shit. It probably would have had better writing, if anything. Or it just wouldn't have been greenlit to begin with because he would have taken one look at the script and been like, "No, that's not happening."
I'm looking at John Malkovich still. Knockaround Guys. Do you remember that movie with?
I do.
Vin Diesel is a pretty good movie, and Barry Pepper. He's
Barry Pepper.
Yeah, from the L. Ron Hubbard classic Battlefield Earth.
Battlefield, Welcome to Earth.
Welcome to Earth.
I need to add Battlefield Earth to my list. Man, that's a good movie.
No, it's not.
It makes sense, man. They learned how to fly these jets from simulators at the mall or whatever.
It doesn't make it good if it makes sense.
Well, we didn't get to see the sequel. That would have been,
thank God,
great.
You can just go read these fucking Dianetics books if you're really interested.
Oh, don't read them. They are horrible.
I was never going to pick one up.
L. Ron Hubbard has the Guinness Book of World Record for the most books written. That's a fact.
Oh, good for him.
All right.
That was the way. I mean, back in the day, he was paid a penny per word or something. So what he would do, he'd get butcher paper and put it in a typewriter and do a shit ton of speed and just type out a story. And his motto was, first draft, last draft, get it out the door. These are all true things.
I believe you. I would never dispute it, but why do you know so much about L. Ron?
Oh, I got fascinated with Scientology and did a lot of research and it's crazy.
Crazy is definitely a word for it.
Anyway. Interesting.
Well, look at
what other photos do we have for this?
We got this one. As you can see, the detail is much more bird-like, but very cool. There's this one.
Dude,
from another angle.
Really like that.
Yeah.
I really like that. Look, I realize that for a lot of people, the costume probably looks kind of hokey. And so they're like, yeah, but I like MCU stands mostly. Or like, I like the steampunk look of Vulture. Yeah, well, it wasn't really fucking Vulture. I love Keaton's performance, though. Gosh, that looks freaking incredible.
Dude, I know. I think there's one more, and it's of the side.
Dude. This is something that I really appreciated about Raimi, he stuck with the more grounded villains. It wasn't quite a Nolan Batman type of a thing, but going for Green Goblin, going for Doc Ock, he wasn't doing any of the supernatural shit, right? You know,
Okay.
It wasn't his choice to do Venom. Adding in Vulture and having some of these more kind of street level villains really, really worked in his style. I mean, just look at Doc Ock. I mean, he fucking nailed. Man, Spider-Man 2 is so fucking good.
Oh yes,
That movie is so freaking good. And
You know,
go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say the first one that you showed. I'm like, man, this looks like something. I can't remember what. It looks like the vampire from the Netflix series Midnight Mass. If anyone's seen it, they can back
The
me.
name sounds familiar. I have not seen it.
It's actually really good. It's a really good little series for what it was worth. But yeah, it looks like the ancient vampire in there. It really close. I love the design and the look of this.
Yeah, they really, whoever they had as like the art director and creative manager for that project, dude, they knew what the hell they were doing.
This might be one of the great unknown or unmade movies. Now, have you guys seen any of the storyboards that came out years ago?
No,
I have not actually.
I'll only show one or two because I don't want to bore the audience with us geeking out over pictures from a movie that'll never come out. But it was storyboarded. I mean, it sounds like a much different Spider-Man movie, but like a very Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, which I'm on board for.
I need to rewatch
I mean, an actual Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie instead of Sam Raimi / 65% Avi Arad Spider-Man movie. Certainly something improved.
I like how he has a belly.
they gave Mysterio a beer gut.
You know who it is, right?
No.
It's Bruce Campbell. That's who that's supposed to be in Spider-Man. That was a
supposed
thread.
to be Bruce Campbell.
What?
Bruce Campbell's Mysterio. He's a different character in every movie, and it was supposed to be revealed in the fourth one that all along it was Mysterio.
Oh man,
That would have been amazing.
Was he gonna have all of the drones things?
No, that's a modern version.
Well, that sucks.
We're talking Mysterio, not MCU. Whatever the hell
they had the same
did
name,
in
bro.
that absolute dog shit movie.
They literally have the same name. What are you talking about?
I refuse to call that Mysterio. The Far From Home never happened.
So dumb.
Far From Home never happened. That movie is actual shit.
Spider-Man Far From Home?
Yeah, Far From Home.
I'll never watch it again.
I won't either.
I get it.
And here's one last picture of storyboards because it has the Vulture in it. And so here you go, folks. There's that was
wow.
the costume was going to look like from that sculpture.
Dude. Avi Arad should have just stayed the fuck away.
Yeah.
He really should have. That's cool. Thank you for showing those.
Yeah, that's
I'd never actually seen those.
It makes me like I said, I regret that we'll never get to see this, but you know, what can you do?
We get to just kind of headcanon.
Yeah, we'll headcanon it up. We'll decide how Spider-Man 4 goes. I say he saves the day.
I agree with this.
What y'all think about the Rhino in Amazing Spider-Man 2? I thought
that wasn't
interesting.
Rhino. That wasn't Rhino.
Did you like that?
Paul Giamatti is an incredible actor, and they could have
so
actually done something with that, but they didn't. They were too busy, again, trying to set up Sinister Six, and they did everybody dirty.
I thought his Russian accent was on point. Sounded very real.
Right.
By the way, his movie Shoot 'Em Up with Clive Owen is amazing. It's this anti-gun movie that spends the entire movie shooting guns and only guns.
Oh, that's the
such
only
a good
thing
movie.
that makes any sense.
It was a balls to the wall crazy movie.
Oh, it was great.
It sounds like it.
Man, you got so many movies you need to see. Stop reading books and educating yourself and start watching movies, Andrew.
Oh, okay. I'll get right on that. What you got for us, Jeff?
So let's continue on with some of our other topics tonight, guys. Now, Andrew, you and I had been discussing some of these things over on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And, we talk about cape shit on and off the air. That's kind of our lives these days. And so over on the other side of the aisle, DC, there's a new film out, Black Adam, that's crossing $300 million worldwide. But the narrative around the movie is kind of that of, I don't want to say desperation, but they're looking for a win underneath every rock, every rug. They're looking for something.
Every rock.
Yeah. Yeah. They're looking for something everywhere to praise or build this movie up. And as somebody who doesn't hate it, doesn't wish anything bad on it, I do think Black Adam is starting to show signs that they basically hyped it up for 2 weeks and sold it, and now they're like, well, now we're fucked. And, well, that's just what I was taking away from it. But Andrew shared this really interesting article. Matt, did you watch Black Adam?
Absolutely not. I get it. Man, come on. I'm not going to go see that. I'll watch all of She-Hulk, but I won't go see Black Adam.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's... You and I need to talk.
It wasn't enough to get me off the couch. You know what I mean?
I don't.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's fine. You can be wrong.
The Rock, to me, I see him in every movie. He's The Rock.
He wasn't The Rock in this movie, actually.
Shit. What, just because he didn't say that he smelled somebody's cooking?
No.
I liked him in the Baywatch movie, though. I thought that was one of his better ones. But
okay.
It's a really funny movie. Zac Efron.
Fine.
He has too many abs.
That's okay.
But look, no, man, just nothing about Black Adam made me want to go watch it. Whenever it comes out on VOD or whatever, I'll get it. But I'm not gonna go to a movie theater to see that.
Well,
did y'all like it?
You're not alone. I thought it was not that great, but
I was gonna go see it if I got invited to, let's say, some show on Thursday nights that would have reviewed it. But since that didn't happen, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna go see it. I would only go see it for Jeff or whoever. The show.
Well, look, that Thursday show didn't plan on going to see it, but it was my birthday and I didn't really know what else to do. I was like, I want to do something, but I don't want to go home. So we went and saw Black Adam. So it really wasn't a planned event. So at least, look, The Rock has never made a great movie that was released on my birthday. So why do I give a shit? I don't. So with with Shazam and Aquaman coming off as more inspirational, lighthearted movies, and the violent side of the DCU being tended via Peacemaker, there's no mistake that Black Adam's violence does have a place. But are fans praising this movie just them accepting mediocrity? Now, the fans are entitled to have their own opinion, but Black Adam isn't that good of a film. The plot is rushed, the dialogue is lacking, and relies heavily on the typical CGI-laced finale that flopped for Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman. Wait. People are now shitting on Wonder Woman? I thought that was a wonderful movie. It was like the event of the season. If you didn't go see Wonder Woman, you hated women. You were a sexist pig. Like, now people shit on Wonder Woman? Interesting.
But look at the way that they frame Wonder Woman taking advantage of the dude. And the what did they say? The creepy Chris Pine resurrection thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than Wonder Woman
we don't talk about
grape
that
this
sequel.
person.
That sequel didn't happen.
No, that's bullshit. I mean, it was such a disappointment. I was going into this one, all the delays, all the pushbacks, which are same as delays. I was like, all right, this is it. We're here. The first Wonder Woman movie was solid. It didn't suck. It was better than I had planned it to be.
Even if that third act is a little on the weak side.
And then we get to this, and I don't disagree with you. Yakuto's great. I cared about the character. I cared if she would come back. I cared if she'd live or die. So they did a good job getting me to care. And so we get to the movie. We get to, I don't even know where I'm going anymore. We're talking about Black Adam. Excuse me. So Wonder Woman is now being listed as a shit movie. So let's continue on. Where was I? So DC has been trying to move away from these types of films, but should Warner Brothers gauge this reception as an acceptable standard, or should all the progress be walked back? It goes on to say that Warner Brothers can't go back to the early Snyder era. I personally wouldn't want that, would you?
Hell no. No, because I want DC. I don't want freaking edgelord version of DC.
I want quality more than anything else, you know?
You're telling me that Zack Snyder doesn't make quality films?
He doesn't
make quality DC films.
He's made two, yeah.
I like 300 well enough because it's just dudes kicking ass, but
hell yes, bros doing bro shit. I'm with you, Andrew.
I fed it. I have no one to blame but myself.
I even liked his Dawn of the Dead remake. I thought it was good.
I haven't seen it. I'm not really that interested.
That's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like that movie.
Yeah, everything else though. Ugh.
Yeah, I agree. Everything else is dog shit. His comic book movies, I know 300 is a comic book movie and it's a whole different beast, but like Watchmen,
it's not superheroes though.
No, his Watchmen movie, man, pisses me off.
So weird.
But Watchmen?
Yeah, she loves it. I think we started watching the HBO series maybe 1.5 episodes before I was so frustrated at yelling at the screen I couldn't do it anymore. Ugh.
I won't watch it. So, continuing on, what this is trying to say is DC, to move on, needs to admit that Black Adam's essentially this big flop and that fans are just acting like it's not. But I wanted to ask you guys, like, when Marvel movies do this, or when a Disney movie does this, like, for example, when Solo came out, when Solo had made $300 million, they were always like, it wasn't a failure. We got to wait for the next release or home video or this or that.
Money.
Yeah, it lost money. It had to be shot. 85% of that movie was reshot. Like, why do you think it's only the DC stuff that gets talked about? Is because they're afraid of the parent company? And if so, Warner Brothers has all this money and keeps growing and, merging with all these other places. What do you think the case is? Why do you think they only call it the Marvel stuff and not the DC stuff?
I think it's because
Are you talking about from the fans' perspective?
Yeah, it has to be because
from these fans. Like articles.
As far as these articles, I can tell you what it is, or what I'm fairly certain it is with regards at least to Black Adam. It's because look, I have never claimed that Black Adam's an amazing film. It's not. It's fine, but I had a great time watching it because it was just enough fun for me to sit there, pop some popcorn into my mouth, and enjoy what was going on screen. And that's all I was looking for out of it. These people in these articles are criticizing something that doesn't have a message, isn't pushing some agenda. It's just comic book action. There's nobody's coming away watching Black Adam, or they shouldn't be, with existential questions about their life in the universe. It's just meant to be a popcorn flick. It's not an amazing movie. It was just a fun movie. And sometimes that's enough. However, when it comes to the access media, and I'm convinced that this is the case here, the access media in a lot of cases tends to direct where the normies go. And by that, I mean us real fans, we don't give a shit what the movie critics say, because we know that the movie critics tend to be slanted. They're bought off. Normie moviegoers don't know this. And so they see that there are a bunch of great reviews from critics for a movie. They're going to go see the movie. Or they, see that they're shitting all over something. A lot of times that ends up being, something that they don't go see. Right now, the majority, however you feel about the overall, 1 to 10 quality of Black Adam as a film, I think is wholly irrelevant in this specific conversation. Sure, at the end of the day, is it kind of mid? maybe just a bit better. Yeah, that sounds about right. However, it's a fun movie, and the majority of the people that have gone and seen it have come away saying, yeah, I had a really good time. That's the general consensus of most people that have gone to see it, most moviegoers, most fans that have gone to see the film. The issue is not enough people are going to see the damn film.
No.
Because right now we're how many weeks in? 3 weeks in, and it's only at $300 million. This movie had a budget of almost $200 million. So assuming the general rule that a movie's marketing budget winds up being half again what its production budget is, this movie just broke even. That's not good enough.
Was that worldwide, or was that?
That's not nearly good enough. Right now, that's worldwide. That it's just broken 300 million. That's not good enough.
No, I wish these were the numbers that Black Panther got instead of Black Adam, but you know.
I don't even know what Black Panther's. Is that actually out now? I don't even know.
No.
It comes out.
Critics have
this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
So
man.
the critics have seen it. Yeah. And Access Media has seen the movie. I'm not. I'm so checked out of the MCU. I just don't care. Honestly.
Did you
Do I have
see
to
that
go see it,
IGN
Jeff?
gave? Am I gonna see it?
Yeah. Are you gonna go see it?
I don't want to. That's the thing.
I don't
This
either.
is-
Probably
this
gonna
is
have to
the
review
part-
it for the channel though.
Yeah, probably. We've reviewed literally every other fucking one of these movies. Look, I'm going to stop acting like I hate doing what I do. I love doing the channel. This is my job. This is my life. I'm happy. I'm not upset about it at all. This Marvel movie, however, is one of the handful that really has me like rolling my eyes so far back that I can see my own brain. I don't want to watch this movie because the one part that I liked about Black Panther, the actor that played the Black Panther, passed away, sadly. And so I will watch a movie full of characters I never gave a fuck about, a broke dick Iron Man ripoff, Black Panther's sister, and Angela Bassett crying her eyes out. I've heard that this movie is a fucking dour, emotional whatever, but then the disconnect comes from them trying to insert the MCU stuff, and it's like, all right, well, you might have this like serious Oscar baity piece of shit movie that people are excited for, but like the stuff that makes it a comic book movie is the problem. I'm concerned.
And you should be.
The
And
stuff
don't
that makes
forget,
it a comic
it's
book movie
long.
should be the focus.
I agree.
It's long too. I don't know about you, Jeff, but so I can only, because of TikTok, I can only listen next door to the movie because I'm black adjacent because my black stepdad. So obviously I'll be giving my tickets to a poor black family instead of food so they can go see this movie.
I understand that reference.
Yep. Now, Jeff, how much of the movie can you watch?
I can go watch all of it because I'll just play the guilt card.
Let me put it this way. I'm not watching this movie in theaters unless I am going to be on a review stream for it. Otherwise,
Same here.
Like I'll catch it like VOD later. Like I have no interest. The first Black Panther, I'm sorry, it's an overrated movie.
So overrated. It's garbage.
That is an average film at best that is propped up because Chadwick Boseman does give a phenomenal performance. However, the movie's story is fine. It's incredible. It is one of the most inconsistent movies visually that the MCU has put out. It has some moments where some of the CGI looks phenomenal, and then others where it's like, did you do this in like 3 hours?
Listen, the Black Panther we got in Civil War, amazing, awesome. I don't know what happened to that character. He disappeared, and we got the one that we got in his own movie. And if you ever want a good like film by numbers movie based on the hero's journey, it's Black Panther. This beat. It is someone who read the Cliff Notes to Joseph Campbell the day before they started writing it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's that derivative and
No, people were acting like it was groundbreaking cinema.
No,
and
it is
just because it
insulting
was
to
an entirely
Logan.
black cast, like that doesn't make it groundbreaking cinema. It still has to be a
Nor
good
does it make it
movie.
diverse.
No, it wasn't. It actually wasn't diverse,
Right.
ironically. But that you can get away with that. Okay, that's fine. It's set entirely. Well, actually, it's not set entirely because it does take place in other countries outside of Wakanda. But that aside, like I can understand if there was a place to have practically an entirely black cast, it's Black Panther. Okay, fine. I believe you. Whatever. I don't care, really. You don't have to advertise it to me. If you just don't say anything and I watch the movie, I'll believe you. But still, please make a good movie. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Day, that's what I'm here for.
And they failed to do it. And it's insulting to Logan that this was the first comic book movie or whatever to be nominated for best. You're insane. If Logan didn't even get a nod.
Logan is head and shoulders, night and day better than
absolutely
on every not even
level.
Yeah,
the third act, is a little weak, but
from a cinematography perspective, well, the third act for Black Panther was kind of weak too.
The first act was weak.
Yeah,
that movie's weak all around. Rhinos.
The entire movie is mid. So honestly, I agree with you there. Black Panther, like getting nominated for all these awards, yet Logan not even, people not even batting an eye at it.
Yes. Yes, but it did defeat racism, as someone said in the chat.
Oh, duh.
If people paid attention, we quote unquote defeated racism, or at least got the fuck over it in the 90s and early 2000s. These weirdos decided to bring it back and pretend that it was a thing again.
Blade did it better and he did it first.
Blade was, I will rewatch Blade all day.
I'll rewatch Blade Trinity.
I have watched Black Panther once in theaters and I'm good.
Same here, but Blade Trinity, I'll watch that.
Wesley Snipes kicking ass and taking names as Blade, hell yeah.
Blade Trinity had his moments. I know people give a shit, but he's like, Blade, ready to die? He's like, I was born ready, motherfucker. He has so many good one-liners. It's so good.
There are some fun moments, but it's not a good movie. I'm not
going
to
pretend that it's a good movie. It had Patton Oswalt. He's fine, guys.
It also had Ryan Reynolds, but doesn't make it a good movie.
Hell yeah. Oh, and Triple H.
And you can't go wrong with Triple H. Jessica Biel was also in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
She was the third one.
And I do like Jessica Biel, but that doesn't make it a good movie.
Yeah, Triple H. Did you hear that part?
I heard that. The game is all right,
Thank you for amending your statement mid-sentence. The game is all right. Like he really is.
I'm gonna quote Bret Hart here. All right, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Triple H can work a match. He's pretty okay.
Well,
but ultimately, at the end of the day, he couldn't lace up Bret Hart's boots.
I mean, look, the same as, I'm not going to name who this person is, Vice President. Triple H fucked his way to the top. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing?
I mean, I don't really have problems with that. I just think he didn't always perform to the best of his ability as a wrestler, and that's my issue. It's like, if you were always pulling out these great matches, sure, but your promos were boring as fuck. I mean, come on.
He's not entertaining on the mic at all.
He suppressed a lot of other up-and-comers as well.
Oh, yeah. Too many. Look, he and Shawn Michaels tried to pull that shit with The Rock. Did not work.
Had that, yeah.
But no, it didn't.
The ladder match, was so good between him and The Rock.
Guess who became the bigger star?
Damn rum.
You're right. He is a bigger star, and it was rung by damn rung. Dude, SummerSlam 98 is... The funny thing is, though, that's so like... Good. The Rock and Triple H were, like, equals at that level. They were both, like, the top of the IC tier. But, man, after that match, Rock really shot up to be a superstar and main event. And it took Triple H another year to get there, which, it's fine. I mean, it wasn't... You don't want to do it too quickly.
Is that all it took? I thought it may have even taken a little bit longer than that year.
No, Triple H would win his first title the night after SummerSlam 1999. So a year and a day, roughly, he became world champion. But The Rock would be champion by, November of that year? So August to November. Not that long at all.
It sucks that we missed out on some really great things between The Nation and DX because of how quickly The Rock, what his heat was rising. You got to put him out. on his own or whatever. But to have those two groups really get into would have been great, I think.
I would have. I liked what we got. It's one of my favorite segments of all time.
And I'm still wondering how Mark Henry gets his pecs.
Domination.
Well, I'm still wondering how Mark Henry gets his pecs to go all the way around his back like that.
Yeah, Andrew, we're talking about the one where that DX dresses up as blackface.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Couldn't do that now.
He said, "How do you get the D'Lo Brown?"
Brother was bacon.
D'Lo Brown underrated, man. His frog splash is amazing.
I agree. His he was a good wrestler. I mean, he had that one accident with draws, and that really changed him.
Yep.
But
I've seen a couple of interviews with him from not that long ago, and yeah, he seems to understand what is up. If that makes sense.
It does. It does.
In Godfather, oh man, dude.
I told you about him, right?
What?
Hanging out with him.
Oh yeah.
That was the highlight of my 2021, hanging out with the Godfather. He was telling us all kinds of great stories. Will I tell them here? No, folks, because I have pictures of that with the Godfather. But no, he's just like, you guys aren't recording anything. I'm like, no, of course not. So we're not going to ruin the Godfather's trust.
I feel you. When I talked to Rod Laurie, the director of The Outpost, which is one of my favorite military movies of all time. Yeah, he told us a few stories, and he also directed The Last Castle with what's his name, Tony Soprano.
Oh, James Gandolfini.
Yeah. That was a fun time. But I get you. I like Rod Laurie a lot, and I definitely think you should check out The Outpost if you haven't seen it.
I'll give it a shot.
Worth it. Yep.
Nope.
I mean, I'm always looking for something new.
Yeah, it's a true story. 4th ID. Same division I was in, but in Afghanistan. It's really, really well done. And they get it right. It took the girlfriend and I almost 4 hours to watch it because I kept pausing it and like, oh my God, you have no idea why this means so much. All these spit bottles. This guy gets it. Just little things like that,
All right.
Well, just do me a favor. Send me the link and I'll check it out, man. Or at least send me the name and I'll check out anything.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think it's still on Netflix.
I'm still on Netflix. Not for long.
I watched the Guillermo del Toro. Guillermo del Toro, that guy.
What about him?
I watched his series of, by the way, I nailed that pronunciation. His series of scary, it's Outer Limits or Twilight Zone kind of a thing with anthology or whatever. It was okay. The first 6 or so were good. The last 2 were horrible, but they were directed by women, so you get it.
Darian 217, the WrestleMania meetup will be everything. We can do anything you want, and doesn't have to be wrestling related. It can be pop culture, it can be anything. I will give you guys more of an outline probably around January. We started super early to tell everyone so you wouldn't miss out. Remember, folks, we'll be at our WrestleMania meetup on March 30th, 31st for non-wrestling fans that want to get together and do some cool stuff. Maybe we'll go toy collecting, do some group activities like that. And then on April 1st and 2nd, it's WrestleMania. I got a ticket. Some of the guys from the show got tickets here in LA.
Oh, yeah. So. Is it going to be the new Rams stadium?
Yeah.
That's a crazy looking stadium.
SoFi.
SoFi.
It's a nice looking stadium. It's just bullshit to get there.
No, getting a lot of places in LA is bullshit.
Most places. It's like, hey, I got to go to the grocery store. It's 3 miles away. I will be back tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Maybe even the day after if it's rush hour traffic.
Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, you want to survive? Nah, that ain't going to happen. You're going to be in traffic. It's like, you got to get to the hospital? Nope. Traffic.
Yeah. No, driving down the 101, California, traffic. Here I come.
That's the only
right back where you started from.
Don't you?
Phantom Planet. What a great band.
I don't.
Better show. Scott and I, we started a series called the OC Bros, where we would review each episode.
And
We gave up. We didn't give up, but we didn't watch the episode for that night, and so we kind of get bullshit through it, and then we just never got back to the stream. Good idea though, the OC bros.
You were ahead of your time.
I unironically, I know I'm full of shit on YouTube, and a lot of this is bits, but I unironically loved the OC. I remember being in the barracks with my DVD box set of the OC, and guys were like, "What the fuck are you watching?" I'm like, "Bro, sit down, watch a couple episodes," and they would get hooked. Because at its core, it was a movie. It was a series about bros. It was Ryan and Seth being bros, but all these chicks were trying to rip them apart.
Right.
Basically.
I've learned more about the OC now than I did when it was on in high school.
Yeah, same here, and I care the exact same level.
Yeah, same here.
0.
You guys have no soul.
That's true. We don't. We traded it for what, a pack of gum. Well, we have our final topic to talk about tonight: Obi-Wan Kenobi. But before we do, our friend Darian 217 says, "Credit Spaceship Vampire. Rule 34 states that it's a fact that someone finds that creepy horsewoman clip arousing.
Oh, no.
Show our guests where are my horses."
Oh God.
Well, you're gonna see some horses right now.
Who are you? What are you doing here, and where are my horses?
I was not ready for the Buffalo Bill. That shit hit me in my ear.
You're never ready for Buffalo Jeff. He's been away this holiday season. He was busy with someone tied up in his basement. And this other Jeff took all of his attention. But he's dead. Rest in peace, Mr. Dahmer. I don't miss you.
It's not as fun if Mary's not here to cringe. Because now I'm cringing.
You'll always cringe for Buffalo Jeff. Buffalo Jeff is in control.
Before we move on, that last article, there was something in there at the end that he said I found fascinating. I'm bringing it up now. Give me a second. He says, what was it? Oh yeah, it was, if the DCU ends up with a universe on par with Venom, blah blah blah. Here we go. The thirst for anything DC and admittedly Marvel saturation, coupled with an audience that's trying to move away from COVID-19 and back into theaters, will result in folks flocking to a popcorn movie that's steeped in senseless violence and laughs. But ultimately, it's not the formula for a compelling, nuanced superhero verse. That sums up the entire issue, is that they see it as this as either or. You can either have violence and fun so that the dumb fans will go see, or you can have something deep and meaningful like Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah, that was meaningful.
Oh yeah.
I wonder how deep she got
really
into
meaningful.
Steve.
Well, the fact is, you can do both, but you shouldn't be striving to do both with every single film, because not every single film needs to be Winter Soldier. And not everyone is going to be Winter Soldier, and that's fine because it doesn't need to be. So that just speaks to the ignorance of the access media and the critics and the shills, that they don't understand the superhero genre at all, because none of them have picked up a comic book in their lives.
Well,
they don't know what comic book films are supposed to feel like, supposed to represent. And it's not their stupid existential fifis. It's supposed to be just a fun time, a fun romp. And every now and then, you're going to have a storyline that's going to hit a little harder. And that's just how it is. But you do that as needed, not because you feel you need to, if that makes sense.
It's worse than that. I don't think they have a good handle on basic narrative writing or just story writing in general. You know what I mean?
I do. I agree with that. the thing, I'm glad you brought up that closing sentence from that article, because I really feel like this is only about movies that aren't Disney. If it's a Disney film, people will be like, oh, it's such an achievement, it's this, it's that. And if a Disney film doesn't make money, it's still the pandemic. That is over. Like, it's been over. And like you said at the beginning, Andrew, Spider-Man made a bunch of money last year when we were still in that shit, more so than we are now.
At the beginning of
this year,
last
Top
year.
Gun beat it.
Yeah. Nobody's giving a shit about a cold now, okay?
And no, the thing is, though, it's like, that is only, they try to use this as an excuse still, and it bothers me. It's always an excuse for these inferior films. Now, look, Black Adam is not superior to many films. I will not act like it is.
No.
But what it is I feel better watching Black Adam than I will ever feel better about watching a Black Panther movie, because Black Panther movies are made, so at least the first one, excuse me, because I haven't seen the second one, I can't speak on it. But the first one, and the marketing around this, and the first one as well, there's like a sanctimonious level of praise, this cultural movement that they want to make out of it. In reality, it's just a comic book made by white people to sell more books to black people. If that's what the culture is, let's take a moment and really reassess that, because all you're being sold is fake black culture from white people, by white people, to black people, and then you get called a racist if you call it out. But it's all bullshit. It's fake. Wakanda's fake. It's not real, and these people buy into the hype. And I wish that, and I'm glad that DC doesn't do this stuff. You got The Rock, the biggest star in the world, going, come on, guys, go see the movie, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? There's an honesty to Black Adam, and there's an honesty to what DC's trying right now. And even though I didn't enjoy the movie as much as I wanted to, God damn it, I feel good, like, supporting DC more than I do Marvel. Take Ezra Miller's crazy ass out of this equation, because I think they will. But other than that, I feel like, Black Adam was cool. Black Panther 2, I kind of, I'm going to avoid that one. Like, let's say there's a new Superman movie. I am more excited to see Superman or Batman come back to screen than literally any Marvel hero that could come out. Because it's like, look, Iron Man's dead. Captain America's dead. Hulk is relegated to a team-up. Daredevil's on TV. Spider-Man will be out eventually from another studio. It's like, all the shit that I care about, Marvel kind of fucked up or killed off. And it's like the X-Men, don't even get me started on that shit.
No,
that movie
we don't talk about X-Men when it comes to the MCU.
Dude, I'm just glad they're going to stick with the name X-Men, because you will destroy your branding if you use a different name.
Oh yeah, X people, or calling it mutants or some shit like that. Like they were tossing around like, oh man, please, you expedite you being forced to completely clean house and start from scratch because you decided to screw up your branding that badly, blatantly, deliberately, intentionally. I will sit here and laugh.
Mutant is such an, like, generic word.
Yeah.
It's not branded. It's, the mutant. You're a mutant. Oh, they are mutants in every different type of entertainment.
Yeah, you've got a mutant dog if it's got 2 different color eyes.
Or a mutant friend if they have
heterochromia is a mutation.
If you want, I can do Buffalo Mad. Hard times, or when the auto workers are out of work and they tell them to go home. Or times when a man has worked at a job 30 years, they gave him a watch, kicked him in the butt, and say, hey, a computer took your place, daddy.
I wasn't aware that I was supposed to have Google Translate pulled up, but I guess that's on me. I should have known better.
You may recognize where that came from. Hard times,
Daddy. I'll give you a hard time. Buffalo and Jeff will give you your last time.
It was Buffalo Mad, the American Dream.
Dude, it was a good one. I'll give you credit. When you started doing the lisp and everything with the voice, I was like, all right, respect.
I love Dusty Rhodes. Baby, I got 32 movies that are outlawed in 27 states, 14 territories. Beth there is. Dusty Rhodes.
I saw him live many times.
Oh, really?
All right. Yeah, never wrestled, but he would come out and talk to the crowd before wrestling shows.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Oh yeah,
I had a friend in high school. She babysitted for Bradshaw's kids.
Oh.
I forgot what his name is.
JBL, John Bradshaw.
Yeah. I always knew him. I loved the Acolytes.
Yep, APA.
And his clothesline from hell looks brutal. It's such a good.
Do you remember when they used to like have that door frame and people wouldn't open the door? They're like, "Hey, what were you raised in a barn? Use the front door." That was like always such a great bit with the APA.
Oh yeah. Man, there was, dude, and I love Farouk too. His Dominator, what they did to the Nasty Boys.
Oh fuck that! They had it come. It wasn't the Nasty Boys. Wasn't it Public Enemy?
Oh, was it Public Enemy?
Yeah, they came in for one match on like a Sunday Night Heat and they beat the shit out of them.
It was so good. And then Blue Meanie as well. He kind of.
Blue Meanie didn't deserve that.
No.
JBL got out of hand and fucking went into business for himself. It's like, look, I get it. You hate ECW, but don't take it out on this dude.
He took it out on Blue Meanie because it's the Blue Meanie. I'm not saying his heart pumps Kool-Aid, but he doesn't seem. He's not the most intimidating person.
No, but he broke his nose on TV.
Yeah.
Did you see how the Blue Meanie got him back?
No. No.
A couple months later, there was a story angle where JBL was beating up some guy, and the Blue Meanie came in and hit him with a chair shot. And dude, he got him with the gnarliest chair shot. It's up there with like the Ken Shamrock chair shot by The Rock, or some of those Stone Cold chair shots. Like, this was a fucking, basically it was a receipt for the bullshit he pulled a couple years earlier.
Well, damn.
Yeah, it was a good one. Now, speaking of good ones, Obi-Wan is the opposite of a good one. Obi-Wan was a terrible TV show. It was absolute dog shit. I could spend an hour telling you why I hated it so much, or I could spend a couple minutes talking about it and then moving on to something else so I can, have dinner or a life or a normal night. Because Star Wars. Yeah.
Because Disney Star Wars.
Because Disney Star Wars. Hey, I can get through this show quicker so I can watch Andor.
Yeah. That's something to be excited about, right?
No. Yeah, I can't even get to the bit.
Yeah,
I tried being there for emotional support. I couldn't do it.
You're a great co-host and a great friend, but
I'm pleased and honored to be both.
Well, at least it doesn't try to be fan pleasing with action and funny.
Yeah, at least
it's
like
opposite of what we want.
Like, something good. You wouldn't want to do that so that people are excited for your shit.
No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to give these people a good time. You don't want to put on a show that they'll remember. You don't want them to say, "Hey, good stream," or "Hey, good job," or "Hey, good episode." No. You want them to go, "Fuck you guys, that was the worst thing ever." Yes, right? That's what Disney and every company's shooting for each week.
That's how we get to call them racist.
I want to call them racist.
We set them up. We set them up. They say our product is bad, and we say, "Well, you're saying that because you're a racist."
Do you think that'll really work with smaller business?
It's not working now. No, it's so dumb. It's all they have left is the shield of bigotry. You know what I mean?
Yep. I'm glad it's come, like the shield's been slowly destroyed, dismantled the way it has been, bit by bit. It hasn't been fast enough, but it's happening. You're right. I mean, it's easier to have more optimism about certain things. And I don't mean like, oh, the world's getting better and it's all going to be fixed tomorrow. I mean, like, some of the progressive woke crap that got put into entertainment has failed so hard that it's time to about face. Like, there's no other option.
Right.
Like,
well, I mean, you take David Zaslav cleaning house at HBO for an example, and at Warner Brothers, for example. And that's not to say that he's necessarily against the woke stuff, but he's against stuff that isn't making money. And so that's an example, as I've said in streams prior, that trash tends to take itself out eventually because people aren't interested in it. The people they claim to don't actually go spend their money on it. So it ends up just getting tossed eventually anyway. Not
to get too deep into it, but that was the entire thing of the deconstructionalism, the postmodernism, because it would always come to a point to where it would deconstruct so much that it would deconstruct itself. The difference with CRT was they had the pillars of racism is real. It will always be real. It will always exist. It's behind everything. And with that, they were trying to allow them to deconstruct everything except for these key opponents, because that's where their power comes from. And I think at this point, though, it's becoming white noise where people are tuning out like, oh, okay, our democracy is at risk. Got it. That's different. Haven't heard it before. Or, oh, they're only mad because we made a black elf or whatever. Like, it's noise. And if you see House of the Dragon and Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power is great because they both came out in their prevent. You're racist if you criticize the race swap, right? And then what you see is people actually enjoyed House of the Dragon, but they didn't Rings of Power. That both can't. Yeah. You can't. That does not work if you're saying the only reason people are criticizing this show is because we race swapped or whatever. When you have two shows that did, one is loved and one is not. You see what I'm saying? That really broke a lot of things.
Yeah, their argument just collapsed in on itself.
Right.
And it always has been, but we were just kind of... Those who've been saying it since the beginning will continue to say it, but it took something like this, a big event, a recent one, to kind of just show people how it actually goes down. And so now people kind of look at that one as this big marker for, oh, this has happened. Cool. And here we are. We've moved past the point of where we were in the past. And the narrative is dumb. The narrative is pointless. And the narrative, I want it to die and be replaced by something so absurd that we just laugh. Like, it's like the first episode of Monty Python. Maybe it's not the first, but the deadliest joke in the world. It's like every time you hear that excuse, you just fucking die, you bowl over from laughter because this is stupid.
Yeah.
I agree.
So let's talk about this Obi-Wan thing,
article?
and then we're gonna yeah, let's put this article up, and then let's go to bed. So, Obi-Wan Kenobi writer claims he felt handicapped by adhering to Star Wars canon. The show completely disregards canon anyway. So, the writer of the show, Andrew Stanton, recently admitted that he felt he was handicapped in his storytelling possibilities by having to adhere to canon. He spoke with Gizmodo and said this is the blessing and the curse of it. It's like, one, you're geeking out that you get to type Vader says this and Kenobi says that. You pause and say, I can't believe I'm actually getting paid to type this. I can't believe these words may be said. But then another part of you is like, you have to go through the right, such a rigorous, does that fit canon? And I feel like it's bittersweet. The reason that happens is because people care, but they also doesn't allow for the things to venture beyond where they may or should go and tell a better story. So it can be sometimes really a handicap. What I think is better is having narrative options, he continued. Stanton then relayed, so I was frustrated sometimes, not a lot, but I just felt that it wasn't conducive to the story. And then we won't go any further. We'll stop there to talk about the next one.
And that's perfect because it highlights so many different things because, one, it shows your limitations as a writer, as a storyteller. You're limited by only having your one perspective. And he came in with a story that he wanted to tell, and he forced everything around it to make it happen. And you see it with the MCU as well. They disregard whatever they have to get across the story that they came in to tell. And I've said this on several other places, but if you look at all of this new writing, what you see is that there is almost a external MacGuffin that is driving the narrative forward, and it's whatever ideology they may possess. Everything has to bend to that, and it's this outside force, and it suffocates any ability to be creative and to really write a story worth listening to, because they do have that external driving force.
Well, that's just emblematic of the issue that we've known is a thing in Hollywood for some time now, and that's that these people that are getting put in these creative positions, in charge of these properties, whether it's DC, whether it's Marvel, whether it's Star Wars, they're not actually fans of this shit. They know nothing about this shit other than maybe a couple of names, and they, as you said, have their own preconceptions and ideas of the story that they want to tell, regardless of whether or not it makes sense within the framework of an established continuity, an established lore,
right.
what we already know of these characters, how we know these characters to be. And we know these characters to be a certain way because they've existed for decades upon decades. And these Hollywood elites and similar types, they give fuck all about that. They don't care. They see these projects and these IPs as just stepping stones. Oh, I wrote this Star Wars movie. I wrote this Marvel movie. And it's just a check on their tool belt. You know, it's just a thing that they get to put on a resume so that they can advance their own careers. They're not actually fans. And it also shows their limitations, as you said, as creators, because it's one thing. It certainly takes talent to write something good that is an original story, that's your own world, crafting your own universe, world building, things like that. That takes talent, that takes skill. It also takes skill, albeit a different type, to be able to tell a good story that fits within the established framework of somebody else's world. Because that requires you to have done a lot of homework. That requires you to have done a lot of legwork in order for something to still adhere to the rules that somebody else set. But these hacks in Hollywood nowadays and in comic books and all these other different mediums, they don't have that skill, or they're too lazy, or they're too egotistical. They don't care at the end of the day because they don't want to play by the rules set forth by somebody else for a sandbox that they themselves did not create. They'd rather go into that sandbox, throw all the sand out of it, kick down the walls, and build their own shit.
Right. And what's even more telling with this guy specifically is, one, this story's already been told in Legends, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a novel. There's actually 2 novels, and there are comic books.
2
of what Obi-Wan was doing in this time.
You're so constricted by what you want to do as a story that you can't make one. You can't have a story happen on Tatooine. It's a hive of the. I forgot the line. Whatever. It was gonna be good.
Scum and villainy.
Yeah. My point is, it's not the canon that is restricting you because you had to leave the planet. You had to get Reva in this shit. I mean,
yeah. Nobody forced. I wonder what the there's got to be mandates that they're given by Lucasfilm that we'll never see. Like you don't want to call it the diversity quota because it sounds whatever. But realistically, there has to be there's got to be a list somewhere because a character like Reva is so bullshit. And there's no reason why you would write that character unless you're forced to. Or unless this guy's just that stupid.
A horrendous character. Holy God Almighty.
When she goes Obi-Wan.
Okay, so the terrible writing aside, the actress doesn't do it any favors in terms of selling it.
And it may not be her fault. It may be the directing. It may be how she's told to do the character.
I'll allow for that if the director was saying, hey, sell this like it's a fucking no-sell. Fine, I guess, whatever. But the writing for that character was so bad. I don't believe a damn thing about it. And then I'm supposed to feel bad for the character at the end when she suddenly turns on a dime. It's like, oh no, I'm going to be good. What? No, I don't believe you. There are other characters in the Star Wars universe, even recently, that tell that story far better. I've used this example on other streams before. I'm going to use it here. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is the best thing that has come out of this current era of Disney owning it. Part of that was because they kept their grubby hands out of Respawn Entertainment's development team. Like they said, hey, you can't tell you can't touch these characters and you can't fuck with this. And then they just kind of let them have it. And they told a really good story that works within the established lore and framework and doesn't fuck with anything. And there's a character in that is an Inquisitor, second sister, who is a phenomenal character, Trilla Sudari. She's not a straight white male character. Oh my God. She's an incredibly well-written, nuanced character that has depth to her, has layers to her. And watching the Kenobi show, I was like, oh my God. They took the character of Trilla and made her a one-dimensional, Wonder Bread, plaster, just boring ass, poorly written version of her.
Psychotic. She is unhinged. By the way,
I can't take her seriously.
No, I love that game, but you know how they always say like, oh, people, well, you can't relate or connect to a video game character if they're black or whatever. I couldn't connect to him because he's so ugly. The actor's great. I'm sure he's great, but he's so.
Wait, you're talking about Cal?
Yeah, he's so ugly to look at.
Don't you disrespect my boy? You put some respect on my boy's name.
I enjoyed the game, but it's like that kid from Stranger Things, the wolf or whatever his name is. He's so hard to look at. So uncomfortable. I get he's a kid, but it's uncomfortable.
I don't think you're meant to be getting a hard on when you're watching.
No,
Cal,
that's not, motherfucker. I don't know. They don't have to make me horny. What I'm saying is, it's just, people. Sometimes people, you would rather not look at them.
I don't swing that way, but I don't think that Cal is an unattractive character.
What?
I'm not looking at the character in that way, but I look at Cal and I'm like, all right, this.
I don't mean attractiveness. I mean aesthetically not pleasing to look at all. One, he's a redhead, so
Oh Jesus, here we go.
Two, I just don't like looking at him. I'd rather not. Thank you.
Well, you don't have to because you're not playing the game.
Oh, I enjoyed the game. I played the whole game. I'm like, oh, why is he so ugly?
Gosh.
That's why you should always be able to create your own character, I think.
No, I think sometimes you need to actually have a character that is pre-established and written and set in stone. Not every game needs to be Skyrim.
Arthur Morgan in Red Dead Redemption 2 is the best video game protagonist ever, hands down. I've done like 3 playthroughs, and I love that game. I love the story. It's so good.
Now, is there anything else you guys want to say about the canon of Obi-Wan? Because it clearly wasn't followed. I mean, they ruined this. It's like Star Wars, the original Star Wars is now still one of the greatest movies ever made, but like, god damn, it adds all these new questions and layers and what ifs. It's like this Andrew Stanton guy did a terrible job, and it would have been better for everyone involved if everybody that works on Star Wars, you have like a person standing next to you with a gun. And every time you have one of your stupid decisions, one of your fucking whims, one of your artistic ideas, you just look over at that person with a gun and you go, it's not worth it. And you just keep writing. Because, look, genre entertainment and this kind of stuff, this is not where you want to put your shit. I hate to say it, but you're being paid to continue a franchise, continue a character, continue this stuff. Write the shit that makes sense. It's not that fucking hard. Like, these are the writing jobs that are fucking easy. Don't give them to these big names that can do whatever or somehow have the ability to write their own shit. Give it to the people that have a proven track record that already write this shit. There's no reason you can't hire Timothy Zahn, or when he was still alive, like a J.W. Renz, where he wrote different kind of stuff. But like, get these people, just write your TV shows. Who the fuck cares? J. Michael Straczynski wrote and created Babylon 5. He wrote comic books. He's worked on other mediums. Just fucking put the people that are the good writers. I don't care that you got TV writers or sitcom writers or
they have no experience.
They don't know. And the thing is, it's Star Wars. You gotta be on the experience.
Get fucking Drew Karpyshyn, okay?
Or Carrie. But I don't know if he writes. The last thing, what would help them, and I don't know why they don't do this. They need to hire a memologist to be there on site. Just a guy that's there, and he at every stage they're like, okay, this is what we got so far, and he can look at it and be like, no, dum-dum, this is stupid. You're going to get mocked endlessly on the internet. You should not. That guy. There should be that guy, and he can have a spray bottle. So when one of the writers, like a cat, when the writer's like, actually, I think we should have this really super diverse and cool Inquisitor, and you spray her. No, stop that. You spray her with a water bottle. Stop. Bad idea.
I have to do that to the cat to keep it off the Xbox, so.
How
I buy that.
How could anyone sit in there listening to Rian Johnson talk about just Luke drinking blue fucking milk from the tit of this animal, and no one be like, hey, question. Have you
forgot
heard of
about
the
that.
internet? You know what I mean? That guy to be like, oh no, I would make fun of this so much. This is not good. How do you not have that guy?
They do need that person.
I just find it hysterical, this notion that this guy is complaining about how it's difficult to work within the established framework of a pre-existing lore when you're literally throwing the lore out with both hands anyway and ignoring it entirely. Like, there was nothing about that show other than the fact that Obi-Wan was living on Tatooine.
And he had a beard. He had a beard.
It adhered to Star Wars pre-established lore. And even beyond that, what lore are you freaking talking about? Because according to Disney, the only lore that exists are the freaking movies that are currently out and their Disney Plus series, because they threw the rest of it out with both hands.
Well,
none of that other lore exists, according to them.
His little pithy line, boy. His little pithy line on it. But the last couple of episodes, I did get to throw some things in there. No shit. Really?
Like, it's just, like, how disingenuous and dishonest can you be? What are you complaining about? There's no lore, quote unquote, for you to have to adhere to at this point, I guess. I mean, unless we're just talking about the fact that you had Obi-Wan and Vader fight twice in a series when they weren't supposed to have even seen each other since Mustafar by the time we see them on the Death Star.
The only real thing that they had to deal with, what as far as restricting, would be space. It takes place in space, and they even fuck up that shit. You know, it is a galaxy open to whatever they want, and they still can't.
Kenobi should have been the easiest layup that the current Disney Lucasfilm ever had.
Well, there's a reason why it's a series and not a movie.
That should have been the easiest draw and easiest moneymaker that they could have possibly put out, because every Star Wars fan loves Obi-Wan Kenobi. And everybody wanted more Obi-Wan. People wanted the Kenobi that was in the John Jackson Miller Kenobi novel. People wanted the Kenobi that was in the Last Jedi comic book series. I'm not talking about Rian Johnson's movie.
Yeah.
People wanted more of that character. We wanted to see what he was up to. And we wanted to see that portrayed by Ewan McGregor on screen. And instead, they fucked it up in every possible way imaginable. It's like, you guys this should have been the easiest thing that you ever put out in your current era of Star Wars. And you managed to mess it up worse than anything else. They screwed up Book of Boba Fett really badly. That show is absolute dog water. They screwed up the sequels. Those are dog water. However, I would say that Kenobi is their biggest fuck up, because that should have been their easiest win.
Listen,
that's the equivalent. That's the equivalent, okay, of the Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator deciding to throw the ball when they're 2 yards away from the goal, and instead of just handing it off to beast mode and winning the Super Bowl, no, they decide to throw it instead, and the Patriots intercept the ball and wind up winning. That's how big of a fuck up that is. That should have been the easiest handoff. They gave you the play right there. Here's a win. Here's an easy win. Here, win the Super Bowl. Here, win the internet. Win Star Wars fans back, because you did a Kenobi series, which everybody wanted, and you did it right, and everybody was happy. But nope.
Yep. Here's a deflated ball. Win the Super Bowl.
I understood these references.
Yep. Yeah, man. I think it's probably one of the best Star Wars thing we've seen, and I put a link in the chat of why it's the best Star Wars ever. It's 5 minutes. Check it out, because I'm correct.
Now,
I
disagree. Adam Wofford, thank you very much for your super chat. He says, the main character from Jedi Fallen Order looks like he should have a helmet and keep away from light outlets. Starkiller is a superior. Fight me.
I don't know what your
Adam.
I don't know what your deal is, Adam Wofford, but I wholly disagree. I will say that Starkiller could certainly beat Cal in a fight, but that's the point. Cal isn't supposed to be some overpowered character. He's supposed to be an average at best a young Jedi who's thrown into extraordinary circumstances and has to just figure out how the hell to get through it. He's not a chosen one. He's not an OP character like Starkiller or like Revan or any of these other characters. He's actually, I would think, a far more interesting character.
Andrew, you're missing the whole thing here. No one's disagreeing with what you're saying about him as a character. We're saying he's too difficult to look at for long periods of time. He's ugly.
I don't understand that.
I'm not saying he's not a good character. I think he is. I enjoyed the game. I had to, cover my eyes and just listen to the dialogue during the cutscenes, but that's because I couldn't stand looking at him.
I don't get it. I really don't get it. And I like to be clear, I like Starkiller quite a lot. I like
Doesn't
Galen
sound
Merrick.
like it.
No, I like Galen Merrick. He's a good character. I don't find him as relatable as Cal, because to me, Galen Merrick.
You find him more attractive.
They're male characters. I don't find them attractive in general.
You find him more aesthetically pleasing to look at.
You're putting words in my mouth. I just
I'm asking.
I don't find him like painful to look at if I'm playing as the character. I'm not like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm having to look at this character. No, I'm playing as the character and I'm cutting down stormtroopers. Like,
yeah, it makes me feel gross to look like that.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just really happy that somebody is bothered by playing as a ginger character. And you have the nerve to say it, Mad. You have the strength to say it, Mad.
Guys, I got hot takes, man. I throw these out all the time. I got hot takes.
That is like a shark's fin, and you give the hottest of takes. Love you.
You've got takes. That's for sure.
He's got takes, and they're multiplying.
Oh, hopefully not at too fast of a rate.
Let's read one more from Darian217. Thank you very much. Darian says, one for the road. Dion's new button with the staircase. Buffalo Jeff. For your dreams. Also, can we get a Rogan Moose? It's been a while. Of course, Darian217. So you said the new button with the staircase. Oh, I know.
Yeah, do a new one with the staircase where you go for your dreams.
You literally just read what was on the super chat.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was looking for the button that has that.
I was just looking for the Rogan Moose button.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Andrew threw me off with his unreasonable defense of people.
Did you see that guy accidentally hit that moose with his car?
No.
Holy shit. Jamie, pull that video up.
Oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah. It's been a while.
As a dead moose.
This isn't an ugly character.
Oh my god. Warn somebody next time, bro.
What? I don't understand.
Throwing that shit up here.
You're acting like it's fucking machete.
There's so many filters. Those Insta filters on that guy. That's not how he looks in the game. Get out of here with that shit.
This is literally from the cover of the game.
No, man. You show up to Applebee's to meet him for a date. He ain't looking like that.
Fucking hell, Mad.
Now, Mad, since you're our guest tonight, even though you have takes, and sometimes they're just takes, why don't you close this? Pick out the closing button. You have a choice of 1, 2, 4, or 7.
Okay, I'm limited here. 1, 2, 4, or 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with 4. Dak Prescott.
All right, so we're gonna press that in a moment as we close out the show. So, is there anything you'd like to say before we put this baby to bed?
Look, I know Andrew has been attacking me all night. I appreciate all the support. It's been overwhelming at times, but I've managed. Guys, if you want to go check out my channel, go ahead. I got some great videos over there. You may not like it if you don't think I'm funny. I don't actually think Obi-Wan's the best Star Wars ever, but if you watch the video, I'll explain why I think it's the best Star Wars ever. And yeah, that's about it for me. How about them Cowboys?
How about that caffeinated wolf? Anything you'd like to say?
No, you guys can check me throughout the week over on my Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/caffeinatedwolf. You can also find me over on Twitter. Just type Caffeinated Wolf into the people's section. I should be the first one to pop up. I also am the creative manager and the social media manager for the Rippaverse. I run all the official accounts, as well as Eric July / YoungerBut59's personal accounts. So make sure you guys are keeping up with those so you can see all the updates on ISOM. We've got 3 projects currently in the works right now. 2023 is going to be a very, very busy year.
I'm excited for you guys.
Can you? I don't normally do this, but I am a little bit of a rapper myself. I go by Madpock Choppa. Could you ask and see if you can help me out? Get my album out there. Get my demo. Can I have you pass my demo tape to him?
Yeah, I'll get right on that.
Madpock Choppa, or Mad Cavelli. In between.
That should be it should be Mad Cavelli.
You don't like the Deepak Chopra reference?
Nobody likes Deepak Chopra, not even Deepak Chopra himself. My mom used to have those books, and I would laugh at this name. I'm like, what's Deepak mean, Mom? She's like, it's a foreign name, honey. And I'm just 4 years old, and I barely could read, but whatever.
All right, Mad Cavelli it is then.
Mad Cavelli.
Yeah.
It's murder. Wait, that's Ja Rule. Shit, I messed that up. Speaking of messed up, this is what Darian 2 and 7 meant. Mad, you actually were right.
Hello, Dion.
Ooh, I don't know if it was freezing for anyone else, but it still scared the shit out of me. What the hell was that?
My own personal conveyance.
All right, man. So we are going to close this one out right now after our friend Adam Wofford. Adam Wofford says, so would you play a game that has Frost instead of Morgan Webb for the next 10 hours?
I think he's directing that towards me, I guarantee it, and it's Frost. The answer is no.
Morgan Webb?
Morgan Webb. Did you watch G4 Tech TV back in the day before they tried to, very failingly so, bring it back recently? Morgan Webb was one of the regular hosts on that. And
you a redhead?
She was not a redhead. She's a brunette, from what I remember correctly. And she was attractive. She was definitely attractive. I'm not gay, so no, I would not like to look at Frost.
It's a little like a redhead.
Is a dude. I remember her hair being darker than that.
Yeah,
it is darker too.
You gotta be careful. Everyone knows redheads have hairy nipples. That's a fact.
What the hell?
What?
We can end on that.
I will
tell
send
the story
you
next
to
time.
Jesus.
You know what we will end it on? We'll end it on this button. So, folks, thank you for watching. Be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other.
Sexism in gaming. In joining G4...
This is not where I thought we were going, but I'm here.
I had no idea.
I'm listening. Yeah.
In joining G4, I was ecstatic to be part of something that I grew up watching as a child. But every time G4 is brought up in various channels, even in this YouTube channel, we have the chat in front of us. I can see you. Without a doubt, there will be backlash because I'm not as bangable as the previous host. It somehow...
Talk to him, boss!
It has somehow been expected that you can talk about how much you jerked off to women as a compliment. It's not a compliment.
It's weird.
It's dehumanizing and it's weird. Women do not exist to be nice on the eyes for you. Morgan Webb, Olivia Munn did not exist to be nice on the eyes for you. And that's just obvious sexism. You don't need to explicitly objectify women or declare that you hate women to be sexist. Just go ahead and check out Thorne's latest meltdown on Twitter for some spark notes.